Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
The Piano Man thing, all the freshmen during the team meetings have had to go up and sing a song, but there's no lyrics and there's no singing in the background, so it's just the instrumental, and I went up and smashed it, I'm not going to lie. Right now, I don't know about that. Maybe in the future.
About Arch. The guy's going to be a damn weapon, and you got to understand this. In punting, special teams in general, every punt he hits isn't going to be a 55, 60 yard. He'll miss hit one. That's going to happen. And when it does, I'll take it. All right. But I'm telling you, when you look up at the end of the year with his body of work, you're going to go, holy cow, this guy's the real deal.
Well, you know, there's certain standards that Matt's, he's going to require and demand from us. And it's really the quality in which we play, how physical and fast, and that we know and do our jobs, right? That's not going to change with Coach Rhule. I mean, it doesn't matter who the coordinators here are or who I am. He's going to demand that.
Good morning. Welcome into Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What's up, DB?
How we doing?
Oh, we're doing all right. How are you?
I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Just ripping and running, man. I feel good.
Just hanging in there?
Yeah, got another morning in, so we're chilling, man. I'm trying to figure out like who I'm more bothered by.
Okay.
So
that's a concerning way to start, but I'm listening.
No, you know, it's like I go through the, you know, listening to the open, and I always like how sometimes you know, Shane doesn't really tell us, right? It kind of sets the tone for what it is that I hear.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking to myself, am I more bothered by, how can I say this? You know, it's about, everybody has responsibilities. Like, what can I do better? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can I achieve what you want the desired outcome to be, right?
Yeah.
So I'm listening to this young man talk, and he's emotional. And so, like, in hearing him, I got a couple of decisions I can make.
Mm-hmm.
I can rock with it and be like, yeah, you know, this guy's pretty far from home. He's happy to be there. He's never seen anything like this before. Like, this is crazy.
The
fanfare,
yeah.
The new country, being away from home. Here I am with a microphone in front of my face, right?
And people actually care what I have to say.
That's going to elicit a response. You may either be like, oh, this is so hokey, or, you know, this is the most Nebraska thing ever, or whatever, right? You hear the coaches talk, and it's the second week in a row we've heard about punts, and so you've got a way that you can feel. You can eye roll, you can be like, oh, I'm excited. You have choices.
Mm-hmm.
The thing, the one that we forget about is you don't always need to share it. Right? Like, I think it's so, it comes across as super hypocritical to want to outwardly express your opinion on someone else's opinion being expressed outwardly. Fundamentally, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I mean, it's situational for me.
Well, listen.
Yeah, like, it's situational for me.
I'm just processing out loud. So I'm like, on one hand, I'm like, man, see, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah.
This is why we can't. For a second.
Were people giving Archie a hard time?
Not near as much as the staff.
Okay. Because I was gonna say, like, I didn't see that.
I mean, that would be pretty. That'd be pretty mean spirited.
I'd start throwing hands. Like,
yeah,
I'd have a problem.
That'd be pretty mean spirited.
Like, anybody that's giving Archie a hard time, I'm gonna have a problem.
You know, but it's like, oh my God, here we are hyping up something that hasn't. It's like, if you don't say anything, that's always an option.
Yeah.
But I think
we don't like that option either, though, because we've had that before and we don't like it.
No, that's my point.
Yeah, we don't like it. We don't like it. Don't try and be like, oh, just don't say anything. We don't like that. We've established we don't like that.
It's crazy how we want our cake and eat it. We want it both ways, all the ways, depending on what kind of mood we're in. I'm like, we're just not going to be able to win for losing.
Now, listen,
But I get that's how, like, media and fan, like, this is how the game's going to be played.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I'm cool with it, right?
And I totally understand that. I
don't know. Do you? Because I get fired up about it.
No, I do understand what you're saying. I also personally don't want to be hypocritical because I'm a person that frequently expresses my opinions about other people's opinions.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I was very critical, not just while he was here, but obviously when he's been gone, of Coach Frost or of Trev Alberts. And so, like, I want to be transparent about I am part of that noise sometimes, and I recognize that.
Hear my heart.
Yeah.
I'm not assessing rights and wrongs.
Yeah.
I'm talking about choices that we have real time to not like sometimes when you're expressing your opinion, you're just expressing your opinion. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to get me to feel that way.
Fair.
Nor does it dictate your behavior.
True. That's true.
That's the
difference.
That's the difference.
Okay. I can ride with that.
Right. So it's like, okay, for instance, we're upset or we're bothered by the fact we're talking about, quote unquote, just a punter. Yet for 7 years, longer, but there's been a couple good punters in mm-hmm. between. We're like, man, if we could only.
Yeah.
If we just.
Yep.
So now you think you have a chance, like you may, and it's, well, you better prove it. That's like, man, can't we?
You know what you tell me all the time, DB?
Can't we just?
You know what you tell me all the time?
Can we just have nice things?
What? You know what you tell me all the time?
What's that?
People can make you dumber.
But like, why are we so quick to like critique and judge that, but we can't just take self-inventory on our responses?
What did you say?
Like, what's wrong with it? Is that too hokey? Like, is that asking too much? Or am I no fun because that makes too much sense?
I don't think it's asking too much. I do think it's asking more than most people are willing to give.
Well, but
there's a difference between that.
But we've seen it before. It's an easy self-assessment. Hey, have I ever found myself lamenting? Sometimes I think we need to Google that word. Like the crying out in a profession, like. There's a book in the Bible, Lamentations. Yep. Like Google what I mean. Google what that word means when we're lamenting.
Yeah.
Because that's not lamenting and venting are different.
Yes.
They're completely different things. We kind of sometimes use them interchangeably, but they're not the same thing. At least in the essence of what lamenting means. So it's like if you want to have nice things, but you want Nebraska to stay in the moment and talking about it, then you stay in the moment in terms of receiving it.
That's fair.
If you don't want them to overhype it, then keep your own emotions in check about the overhyping. Mm-hmm. But what we do is the cynics in us are like, we're going to poke fun at the excitement as though operating in one extreme mm-hmm. is somehow in the other.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's just it's just weird to me.
It is.
And we'll do it and not even be realizing we're doing it. And it's like, well, how is that any different than what they're doing?
It's the thing that drives me crazy.
Is that
right.
like is this Denny Downer? Is this wet blanket day? Am I being super douchey?
I get what you mean because it's one of the things that across all areas of life, not just sports and fandom, that drives me crazy. It's logical consistency. That's all I want. If you can
why can't we just receive the information?
If you can be logically consistent in the way you respond to things, I don't really care what your response is because then I'm able to adjust to what your logic in that situation is. If you're unpredictable, I don't like chaotic mm-hmm. people, right? I feel like I have a pretty good idea. I've known you long enough. I've known you well enough. If a certain stimulus is presented to you, DB, I have a decent idea how you're going to respond to that most days, right? Feel like vice versa is the same way. You're like, I know Ravi really well. If something is put in front of his plate, I have a general idea how he's going to react most of the time. It's logical consistency. That's all I really ask from people. With fandom,
it's very situational.
It's super situational, right? Because if it's not good enough, then it's the biggest deal in the world. If it is good enough, then it's like, well, it's only punting, right? So which is it? Is it the biggest deal in the world that we can't punt, or is it just putting because now we can?
And it's
right?
like,
is it just holding? Like, Coach Rhule talked about how great of holders we have now, and the long snapping or whatever. And it's like, okay, but if Eckler says yesterday, we still got some ways to go on the long snapping, the sky is falling, But if he had praised them the way we have Archie Wilson, then it's like, well, it's just the long snapper, guys. Relax.
And here's the other thing. Like, I think it makes grabbing the podium and being a daily speaker sometimes with what comes with it. You can only really present the information as you see it as the orator, right? The giver of the information. At some point, you have to wash your hands of how it's received, because it's just
not up to you.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's just it's not. So, I mean, I understand that too, but it's like we come across as though we haven't seen other people that we kind of envy or would like to be like find themselves in similar situations that we've been beaten by, i.e., good punters,
Iowa.
Good kicker. See, Iowa is such low-hanging fruit. I almost don't want to use them.
It's true, though.
But it's 100% true.
Like, all the things we're talking about are the things that Iowa has used to beat Nebraska more often than not over the last 10 years.
It's doomed Nebraska.
Yeah, over and over again.
I'm talking, we struggled to snap a ball.
Mm-hmm.
We've struggled sometimes to kick a ball. We've struggled to directionally kick a ball. We've struggled to field balls. And we've seen it result in taking L's.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a certain way that special teams should be talked about over the last 15 years that would be cool with us as a fan base? Because you're always going to get the just win games.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get the, oh, that'd be nice. You're going to get the, can we at least just wait and see? If I'm giving the information, should I consider all of those options? Or should I just present the information?
You can. I don't think you have to.
It's a rhetorical question. Like, do with it what you will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I mean, that's really what we're talking about. Like, I don't know, man. Sometimes I just get frustrated that we just simply, we complain about people not having nice things, but we also can't receive nice things either.
It's like people that can't take a compliment.
We can't, we don't know how to receive nice things either.
Yeah.
So it's like, not like can you not have it and know what to do with it. We don't know how to receive it either.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we're going to spend the next 2 days either making light of, eye rolling, or anticipation of just people disseminating information. And at no point will we hold ourselves accountable for what we say or how we feel about it. We'll just do with the information about what somebody else told us what we will, as if we're somehow different. I'm not gonna grade me.
Yeah.
And my response and what I say in my sphere of influence, the same as I am the information I just heard.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That plane lands a little Sullivan-y to me. You know what I mean?
Just on the Hudson.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm open to hear thoughts on it, but that's how I feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I think I find it frustrating, and it hasn't been with the special teams thing as much, although I definitely understand.
I do hope they're good. They have been atrocious.
Yeah.
So why can't they breathe life into it?
Right.
Do I want them to, hey, I want to be encouraged, but you can only say this much? Like, do I really want to be that guy?
Yeah, I don't want to police how encouraged
I don't feel good about that.
I don't either. I mean, I kind of
I prefer to control how I take in the information.
Yeah. I kind of take it to the team in general, right? Because we've seen this with either other position groups or the team in general. And Coach Rhule says, like, hey, this is a good team. Or Coach Snow yesterday says, hey, there's plenty of talent here, or whatever it is. And then people go, well, if there's plenty of talent, why haven't they won more? Or if this is prove it to me that it's a good team, whatever. Like, this is a guy that was hired at Nebraska because he has a history of turning bad teams into good teams. So theoretically, we have trusted the fact that he knows what it looks like, right? Knows what it looks like when it goes from bad to good and when he gets to a good team. So when he says, hey, this is a good team, I think that there's a certain level of track record and credibility that he's got that you can say, hey, this is a good team without before the fact that it gets to 8, 9, 10, whatever win number justifies that statement in your mind. I think where the problem comes in is we think about things a little bit too linearly sometimes. Because last year, he said he liked the team too, right? He said, hey, this is a good team. I like our team. That doesn't take into account that things can go wrong between, hey, this is a good team, and hey, this is how many wins we got, right? How many more wins do they got? Like, let's take special teams as we're talking about. How many more wins did they have last year if special teams just isn't a train wreck?
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they're an 8-win team last year, because it's at least 2, right? If it's an 8-win team last year instead of a 6-win team last year, do we have a problem that he says it's a good team last year? No, probably not.
No, you don't probably.
Right? And then do we have a problem that he's saying it's a good team this year because we saw that he was right last year? No, probably not. Right? So we have a hard time taking in like nuance and context into things. Like, yeah, for the most part, I think last year was a good team. I think that was probably an 8-win team. Now, there were circumstances that occurred that made them a 6-win team. I get that. And you can't go against the circumstances. You are what your record says you are. But that doesn't mean the team was any less capable. It means they didn't execute when they had to. Right?
Yeah.
So we sit here and we go, oh, well, I can't trust that he said it's a good team because last year was a good team and they won 6 wins. It's like, well, no, last year was a good team and they happened to win 6 games despite the fact they were capable of more.
Yeah. You know what I think it is?
What's
Listen, I think I'd rather put the onus on how I receive information on me.
Sure.
And not try to project that on everybody else unless I'm asked. Hey, what do you think? Hey, what do you mean? What do you think you know what I mean? Because I don't really want to get in the habit of critiquing or telling you about my opinion of your information unless you ask me.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like unless there's concrete answers. Just today, hey, listen, when we're in this front and I'm a C gap guy, how do you want me to line up? What'd you hear this morning? What would we talk about in an individual? That player's going to give me a response. See, at that point, as kind of the overseer and the presenter of the information, I got to be like, okay, this is how I wanted you to receive it. That's different.
Yeah, it's concrete.
Yeah,
it's a concrete.
There's a right or wrong answer.
And then you have to look at yourself and say, okay, if I know I said this and he didn't receive it that way, maybe I have to look at how I presented the information.
That's just, and maybe what I'm saying this morning is more how I utilize my own filter.
Yeah.
Right. I just think it keeps you safer emotionally in terms of being able to stay in the proper driving lane. If I put the onus of my response on me, I don't make it somebody else's fault. Because all the time you hear, well, the media said or the coaches said. And sometimes I always want to say, at what point do you analyze how you process the information?
Yeah. No, I get that.
Right? It can't always be somebody else's fault.
No, it can't. I do think at some point and I don't think Nebraska's coaches are in this realm at all, right? I think they give information in a way that is as useful as possible to us without telling us more than they want us to know or more than they want the general public to know. It's not a fan problem. I think more it's hey, we don't want a certain type of information out there for everybody else to consume. And I understand that. I feel like they're generally pretty honest with us. I feel like they generally are pretty forthcoming as much as they can be. Now, here's part of the problem is what's true today isn't always true tomorrow, right?
Or as I like to say, just because it has been doesn't mean it always will be.
Like he can say, hey, yeah, this guy is having a really good camp, and that guy could be having a really good camp up to that point. And then that guy could either maybe gets banged up a little bit, maybe is having trouble at home, maybe he is having trouble with classes or something. Like we forget that these are whole ass people here, right? That have rest of their lives that impact who they are on a football field and things like that. So maybe his girlfriend broke up with him. I don't know. Maybe his dog's sick. Like there's a lot of things that can happen where a guy that's having a good camp all of a sudden isn't having a good camp anymore. That doesn't mean it wasn't true when the coach said it.
Oh, I thought you told me.
Yeah.
But you said.
Well, he was.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I think
I can work with that.
There's been a lot of good examples of that over the course of the last 3 years, right? You can say, and I know the one that comes back to bite Coach Rhule all the time, at least with people that want to be snarky for no reason, is, oh, well, he said Jeff Sims was an NFL talent, whatever. And it's like, listen, I run into the same thing with people all the time with the Trevor Lawrence thing. Trevor Lawrence not being good doesn't mean he isn't talented, right? Jamarcus Russell not being good doesn't mean he wasn't talented, right? Like Jeff Sims is a talented guy. There's a reason Arizona State took him. There's a reason Georgia Tech took him. There's a reason Nebraska took him, right? Him not being good is a different conversation than him not being talented.
You know, the interesting thing, too, about that is I think all of us, and I almost never use extremes, but I think all of us know somebody that is talented in something, and the output,
the production's not there,
doesn't match what we think about them.
100%.
I think we all know people like that.
I am one of those
That
people.
would be a weird hill to die on, though.
The Jeff Sims thing?
Yeah.
Oh, people bring it up all the time.
Huh.
Like any time I try and be like, hey, he's told us the truth. He's like this. They're like, well, he said Jeff Sims was an NFL guy.
Yeah, you know, you realize Kwame Brown was super talented.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. He was not in a either correct state for himself or the wrong situation for him or whatever.
You know, Ryan Leaf was
incredibly
super talented.
Probably more talented than Peyton Manning.
You know what I mean?
Like physically,
I get it.
Ryan Leaf probably greater than Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
I think that's accurate. Now, there's a whole lot else to do with football, whether you're successful or not, outside of the physical talent. But that doesn't mean it wasn't true, right? So that's the part that I also think we have a hard time separating is truth about what a person is versus their output and their results. And then what's true today may not be true tomorrow, may not be what was true yesterday. So like that amount of nuance sometimes I think bites the coaches in the public perception because they see something every day and we hear from them once or twice a week. And we see it 3 or 4 times throughout the course of a fall.
Yeah, if you ask me how I think we're going to – DB, how you think West Side's going to be? I said, I think we're going to be pretty good. And we go out and we get curb stomped by North. When you asked me, I still thought we were going to be pretty good.
Yeah, and you probably still think you're going to be pretty good after that.
You know what I mean? Like that, I guess that's kind of how I look at it.
Is there anything that could happen to West Side against Omaha North that would make you think, oh, I was wrong? Or would you just think these are the things we need to fix to get to the point I thought we can get to?
Oh, it depends on how bad they beat us.
Okay.
I reserve judgment. I mean, we get beat 42-0. I'm not sure we're going to be pretty good.
maybe Omaha North's pretty good. We don't know.
I mean,
Maybe Omaha North's pretty good.
I may have to reconsider that. But I get the point, man.
It's one of those things where you're right. The processor of the information does have to take some accountability. That being said, I do think the provider of the information does have to take some accountability as well.
Yeah. Hey, Shane, can you put T-Mac in blue so I can read it? So he says, Robbie, your last statement about outside factors is why win projections are always tough for me to listen to. But in that vein, T-Mac, I still think when people do that and they go through schedules, I used to be this dude, and I got on my own nerves, right? I was like, I'm just keeping it a buck. I don't like to talk about schedules. Just play one game at a time.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
That's fine.
We understand that.
It's a coach mentality, player mentality.
We understand that. But I'll humor you.
Yeah.
I'll go through it, even though I know in my head, hey, momentum matters, psychological approach matters, injuries are going to happen.
Yeah. On both sides, you don't know who's going to be healthy either way.
But I'll play.
Yeah.
So I think even with win projections, you're just starting with a baseline of opinions.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to elicit a strong stance on, man, I'm just going to roll my eyes at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I'm telling you, I was that dude, right?
I know.
And then I started to hear how it sounded. People would say, hey, I know you don't want to talk schedules, or I know you don't. And I'm like, man, do I really come across like that? Yep. I'm like, shoot, but that's a lot of fun for me to talk to. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Like sometimes you kind of I have to evaluate my response.
Sure. And I think you can,
as how, you know what I mean?
And I
In
think you
terms
can-
of how I'm receiving it.
and I think you can create the context too of like, hey, like we all understand momentum's a thing, injuries are a thing, like the way the season plays out is a thing, but we can still talk about the schedule, understanding.
Can I tell you that I think
You
Mekhi
know.
Nelson is the best natural runner without you telling me that I think he's Doug DeBose?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I can also tell you that when I go to open practice, I go, Mekhi Nelson's the best runner of the running backs. That's not telling you that Emmett Johnson sucks.
Oh, by the way,
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and I know I've yet to really like talk to him, so I'm not doing this to like validate you.
Mhm.
But did you hear the random reference of a guy that was brought up that you asked me about?
Oh, Dylan Rogers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's ever, you talk about an OT, as the kids would say. Hey, OT. How you get a Dylan Rogers reference?
I don't know. I was pretty happy about it, though.
And I'm childish, so you know what I did? Oh, God, here we go.
You're like, Ravi's not going to let me hear the end of it.
Can't wait to hear this, because what he's going to say is, man, I asked you about that guy, and you didn't even want to respond to me. It's like, because I missed the question. But that was a great find during that open workout.
Yeah, that was a guy that, and I understand, again, context.
Now, I'm not saying he's going to be Pepper Johnson or Teddy
Yeah.
Bruschi, but
And I understand, like, I saw one practice, right?
So you know what's funny along these lines is we want to ask about individual players, and then when coaches, that's why the reason because we can't handle the information is really why they most don't enjoy talking about it. And trust me, it's not because they don't trust their own eval.
No, it's because they don't want to single a guy out and have us not be able to handle the information.
Yeah, it's not like
why they ask
if I say this, and I'm, he doesn't do this, then man, they're gonna look at me. That's not why they don't say it.
That's why people ask about one guy and they'll mention four, or they'll ask about one guy and they'll mention an entire position group, or they'll ask about one guy and then they'll divert the answer totally somewhere else, right? And I understand that. I do. I also understand that, like, it's a lot of times when they do mention a player by name, it's for their sake, not for ours.
A lot of times.
Right?
I kind of thought that was a lot of the Archie thing.
It was like
last week,
pumping him up a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, because there's so much he doesn't know.
Sure, yeah.
And it's his team, like, they love that dude.
So this might be a very dumb question, but I think of like Darren Erstad, right? Who walks in as great baseball player, walks in.
You talking about when he came to us?
Yeah, walks in as a senior, is like, hey, I'm going to be punter for a national champion. Don't worry about it, right? And it probably wasn't as simple as that, but people make it sound a lot like that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I sit here and I wonder, I'm sure coming from, small town Nebraska or small town South Dakota, like he's got a South Dakota, North Dakota.
I think he's South.
That's what I thought. So I'm sure he's got a better familiarity with the game of football than Archie Wilson does. But there is a part of me that wonders, and this is probably very dumb. Like, yes, I want my punter to understand what's going on with the game of football. I also feel like 90% of the time he can do his job without a great understanding about what's happening around him.
Mm-hmm.
Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Like, it seems like most of the time, unless something goes wrong or they want him to do something extra, like a fake or something else, right? Archie Wilson could probably do his job really well 90% of the time and not really know what's going on in the game, right? They're like, hey, I need you to kick it there. Don't let that guy catch it. Put it out of bounds at the 2-yard line. Got it, coach. Like, doesn't need a whole lot more than that.
I'm just pulling up, because you wanted to use Iowa. I'm just pulling up Tory Taylor's.
Tim says Erstad's North Dakota. My bad.
Is he North?
I don't know if Tim's right or not, but that's what he's saying.
Is he North Dakota?
He's one of the Dakotas. He's a good old Midwestern boy. I'll look it up while you're looking up Tory Taylor.
Okay, so we thought Tory Taylor was pretty good, right?
Yes, understatement. North Dakota.
Drafted, right?
Yeah, really, really good. Maybe like the best college punter I've ever seen in my life.
Tory Taylor, according to this, had kicks blocked his first year. Do you think Iowa still thought he was going to be pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I just say that to say, which is weird. Wow, a couple kicks blocked. Which is weird because it doesn't mean that my guy, wow, I can see his face. Coach Woods doesn't mean LeVar was wrong about him.
Sometimes it takes a minute.
Just took him a second.
Yeah.
So I think I'm shocked at that. I was going out on a limb too. I'm glad he did struggle a little.
Glad he helped you out.
But when people talked about, and maybe it's because he had to prove, we waited till he proved it, like as a fan base, and so that's what we're upset about. But Taylor was a weapon, and I'm not saying. Listen, again, now I have to couch it because I'm worried about how it's going to be received. I'm not saying Arch is going to be Taylor. What I'm saying is the fluidity, the fluidness of the eval in the moment can't be disrupted by hiccups, right? Because I think coaches most times have done this enough to trust their own evaluations, but you still have to let it play out, which is why I think Eck came back and got it with the not everything's going to be a 55, 60-yard kick.
He's like, he's going to have some struggles this year.
And, you know, so, and the second part when he tagged it, I thought that was certainly for Arch, right? Because he's in the room waiting, right? So I think I took it as, and again, this could be the good piece of cheese. I'm willing to entertain it. But if I'm sitting in the same room as somebody that I know is going through an acclimation period and is very emotional, maybe even like, I don't know, do you guys really want me? Like, who knows what Arch is thinking before he takes the podium, right? Because that's a lot for a first-year guy. Most times they don't even put those guys up until you play. Yeah. So I was shocked, right? But I think part of it is intentional. You have to be intentional with the results you want. If you want to be able to kick in front of 90,000, you better be able to speak to 1 million. Yeah. Right? If you want to kick in front of 90,000, at some point you're going to have to be able to talk to 1 million. Now, if he's not good at it, that's something else. Then we start getting into my Taylor Martinez thoughts. I'm like,
don't put him out there.
Yeah, shut him down.
But he seems like a pretty charismatic guy.
Arch?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he seems like a guy that in general is comfortable, like holding court.
So when he's talking, I think he was doing two things. He's allowing the opportunity to be said out loud. Hey, it might not get off the kind of start you want, but hey, I'm encouraging you with these words. By the end of the year, you're gonna be pretty good. Yeah, could be a weapon. And then it's like, wow, he said weapon. It's like maybe that wasn't for us. Maybe listen. I can't. Maybe it wasn't for us.
Even if it was though, like
I don't know.
I also think we need
just the strong opinions that are listed. And I'm like, man, how long? We'd be the type of people that hold him against him the minute he shanked one. And he'd be like, oh, they told.
Oh, there's the weapon.
And I'm like, oh man, you guys like.
Here's the thing, right? A knife is a weapon. A nuke is also a weapon. They are not the same degree of weapon, right? Like context also still matters here. Wow. Right? Like.
Don't matter to me.
What up, Shador?
You know, like, listen, you're a big Gladiator fan, right?
100%.
What's that little thing that Commodus shanks Maximus with at the end, right? That's not a big weapon. That's just a little guy, right? That did a lot of damage, though.
He said, "You would fight me? Oh, you think I'm afraid?
I think you've been afraid your whole life." But like. That's just a little weapon, right? He goes out there with a sword, can't do anything with it. What kills Maximus is the little weapon, right? Like there
could be relative to how piss poor we've been up until this point. Like
also
when you're see, this is the part that was. This is really the catalyst. Like if you want me to really keep it a buck, there were times we would trot out there for special teams, and as a fan base and me up in the booth. Please let this snap get there.
Yeah, I'm just catch it.
But like I would
100%. No, I'm.
So I know how I felt.
Yeah,
I know how it made me feel.
Every time they went back there, they're like, "Oh my God, please just get the kick off."
We forget how we felt like that.
I don't forget.
So I just took it like that's what really was bugging me. I was like, guys, just imagine if it's okay.
This is
like, do you have to recalibrate your snark by the varying degree of the compliment? Like, I just want to be okay.
I mean, I remember last year.
I just want to snap this thing, get it off, kick it to where it's supposed to be kicked. I want to get it fielded. I just want to do the bare minimum.
I remember last year when I'm sitting watching games and I go, okay, they're probably in field goal range, but are they going to try one? Because do they trust it to actually be able to get the ball down?
Yeah.
Not whether or not they can make the kick.
Well, I got the answer to my question. I asked a couple of our national guys, and I asked the guys, some of our beat guys, have you allowed yourself to think or even imagine if the special teams is good?
Nah.
The question, the answer to that question, based on these responses of how we've taken this and run,
they have not.
We have not. We haven't. So
I agree.
At least I know.
The thing that I've allowed myself to do is, what if they're just not atrocious? That's where I've gotten myself to.
Hey,
that's
hey, hey, Ravi, how was your day?
Not atrocious.
Pretty good. I'm still alive. Well, that's weird. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I mean, that's
DB, how was your day? I didn't die.
That's the verse response, right? Still
Yeah,
on
right.
this side of the dirt, right? I mean,
yeah, he does say that
like
sometimes.
almost every time. He's like, oh.
woke up on the right side of the dirt.
Yeah. Or he's like, well, I'm above the ground still.
I'm like, that's a little morbid.
You know, but like honestly, that's the only place I need it to get to in my mind for them to get to where I want to go. Anything above that's a bonus.
Yeah. Hey, how is it landing with you to hear Coach Snow keep referring to Coach Rhule as Matt?
Honestly, it felt a little weird.
I was like, you can't do that. I was like, oh, yeah, you can.
I was like, I know you're like 20 years older than this guy.
Been a mentor. He's like, yeah, that's the thing with Matt. I'm like, who's Matt?
Could we call him Coach, please?
Who's Matt?
He caught himself a couple times, though.
I know.
He did. He go, Matt, Coach Rhule.
Yeah.
It did. It felt a little weird. But then I was like, it's also, I mean, probably a little weird for him to like be like, oh, Coach Rhule, because he probably does just call him Matt, right?
I wanted to jump right through the monitor when he gave the Arizona State Snyder reference. I'm like, oh, you don't say. You put that defense together, did you? Did you, huh?
Did he put the defense together the previous year?
Oh, wow. It's tough.
I'm just asking.
I still see Clinton going like 70 down the sidelines.
I mean, if we're going to keep receipts, let's keep all of them, you know?
Man. Who backflipped in that one and got us in trouble? Was it Lance Brown? Somebody backflipped in that game the year before, and I was like, poop. No wonder these guys are running through our warm-ups the next year.
Yeah.
Oh, they kicked our teeth in.
I mean, you know, I think they felt a certain way about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Coming up on the show today, we've got our Wednesday regulars, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 at 8, Andy Kendeigh from KETV at 8:30. It's a Mitch Sherman week. We've got Mitch Sherman from The Athletic at 9. And then we will wrap up the show with Ryan Abraham of USCFootball.com to preview the Trojans. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back with more Hurrdat Sports Live.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals, with a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Here at Omaha North with Camp Confidential, Coach Martin is our next guest. Coach, obviously you lost basically your whole offensive line outside of one. You lost one of the greatest leaders this school's ever seen, and that's saying a lot, in Tyson Terry. But you still are going to be in the conversation because you're Omaha North football with Larry Martin as the head coach. How has the adjustment been so far with this new group?
You know, I think that the biggest things that you try to to talk to the kids about is that you don't replace guys like that. You just don't. You learn from what they brought to the table and learned how that enhanced your program. And I was proud to sit here and listen or stand there and listen to the kids about the different things that young man stood for and what he brought to the program. And you know, they're not trying to be Tyson Terry. They're trying to be themselves, which they did. And unfortunately, we got a little bit of dose of that because Tyson got hurt, you know, on the field. And
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. That's DBM Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. Reminding you, if you're out on the road this morning, make sure you keep those eyes focused and straight ahead. Keep that phone down. Keep those eyes up. Make sure you're not distracted. This message from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Some funny comments about my weapon analogy earlier. They go, a flip-flop in the right mom's hand is also a weapon.
That is true.
We got wooden spoon, also a weapon.
Correct.
This is one I had not heard of. Somebody said like a length of Hot Wheels track.
Oh, yeah.
I was unfamiliar with that one.
Have you not? So you might have.
I didn't
this
have.
was
I don't
past
think
your
I had
time,
the tracks
but
either.
they had these rubber kind of malleable ones they were connectors and they could curve and loop.
Yeah.
They were orange, I believe, for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah.
And Shane, do you remember those? Coach Huffman had I know I use him a lot for toys. I don't know if that dude was like
cool
closet
setup.
loaded, but he had all the.
I do remember those.
And you could shoot the cars out of the deal, and they would be on the track.
Yeah,
and they would
I always
loop.
wanted one of those. I never had one.
And you could just like take them apart and put them.
But they were pretty
together.
bendy.
Yeah.
So you get a little whip on those.
Yeah, whip. Cool whip. Well, my mom's got me. She hooked an extension cord so it had a little loop.
Mhm.
Like she grabbed both ends.
Like Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, my dude. I've been all weapons are not created equal. I remember my ding dong sister and I can't remember we were getting some work done in one of the closets in the spare bedroom and we blew up the outlet.
Mhm.
jacking around with the extension cord. It had the big black
Oh yeah,
on it. And my mom came in there.
probably not real excited.
No, and it was weird too because that wasn't really her style.
Mhm.
But I always I would kind of closeted in my head. I would make fun of how she would try to talk and whip at the same time. You better not talk. Like,
Blah, blah, blah.
with each breath you try to take, you get weaker and weaker. You cannot do two things at once. Knock yourself out, mama. You know, I don't know why that's registered, but
That is
it's
funny,
just
though.
funny.
Yeah.
You know, my dad would try to spank me, and my mom would be like, just cry. He'll stop soon. And I was like, nope, not doing it. Plus, he was a handcupper, so
Yeah.
he didn't know what he was doing. I mean, you can't, this is not going to hurt if you're a cupper. When you have the loose, limp wrists like my mom, those hurt
Well,
because you're
yeah.
getting like,
You got the whip.
yeah, you're covering more surface area. He was a cupper.
So it sounded worse, but it wasn't. It's like when you clap with the cupped hands, you know.
Yeah, I don't have to worry about it now, so I can tell all the secrets. Tell all the secrets. Not a good spanker.
Listen, I guess it's better than the alternative. I don't know. I don't.
Mm-hmm. I used to think, my sister and I, we would joke as we kind of got in high school. We used to act like my mom could flip her slipper and like
Yeah.
just catch it. You know, because she would be so smooth with it. And that was back
Like
when,
a
you know,
little, look a little messy out there.
we
just,
would,
like,
they would
flipping
wear
it.
the house shoes that like had the,
Yeah,
you know, the bottoms were not
not real solid.
yeah, they weren't real rigid. So
Yeah.
it had some bend to it.
Yeah,
Like,
gotta get that little snap action.
I used to be like, yeah, we're good. We're good.
You sound like you got in trouble a lot.
I mean, you know. You know.
That's why I love you.
Shout out to Wyatt. He said he was in the hospital for a couple days. Wyatt, I'm glad you're back. I hope
And
you're
everybody's
okay.
welcoming him back. Like, what happened?
I don't know. Maybe you might have to text him. I don't have his number.
Okay. Hopefully it wasn't from bad food storage.
Hopefully not.
He catch something bad from one of his eggs.
He seems like he's alive and well now, though.
Yeah. All right.
He said,
What?
"Why? I don't know why you gotta make that analogy."
Who? What?
Yeah,
Because he's nuts.
He goes, "I got the rubber Hot Wheels race tracks." This is him saying this, not me. Felt like a damn bamboo stick.
How would he know?
I think after you get that maybe once or twice, wouldn't you just throw it away? Wouldn't you just get rid of it?
The track? No.
Give it to your buddy down the street. Go,
'Cause we
yeah,
used to-
I'm
we used
good
to-
on this.
We used to collect cars, so no. I used to have a sweet Hot Wheels collection.
Kobe, I'm kind of doing a show here. I can't read all of his comments at the same time, bud. So that's why I asked. Okay.
Kobe is a cold shot.
Like,
No. Kobe, we know.
I don't know if you noticed the comments scroll.
We know
while
that
we're
he
live
he
doing-
said he was back from being in the not feeling. I want to know like what was wrong, not just that he was in.
I
the
think he said he
hospital.
was dehydrated. Like, what led to this, Kobe? There's a lot more context here I would love to have.
Why do you let him get? Actually, Kobe's probably a very nice person. You know,
That thing wet.
I told you Lance was. That turned out to be true.
I still don't know that to be true. I've never met Lance. I don't know Lance.
He's a Dolphins fan.
Is that supposed to be in his favor? I don't know
Yeah,
what.
that means he's very patient.
That's true. I do know one Dolphins fan.
I know. I know three. Shane's boy, Funny Randy, my comic book dude. He's a huge Dolphins fan. Mike Boker, the guy that told me
I'm unfamiliar with Funny Randy.
nice show prep. He's a Dolphins fan. Shout out Millard West as he's got those guys back in school. And Heath.
Oh, he's a
Edwards-
Dolphins fan?
I met him.
How?
So Team Oklahoma Tyler recruited his son to come over to our team
Yeah.
from Council Bluffs. And I saw him at a practice at Buffett. We were practicing at the middle school. Owen was like in the 7th or 8th grade, and Caleb. And so Heath and Terry were across the gym.
Mhm.
This dude had on a Miami Dolphins jersey as a grown-up.
There we go.
So
You remember who it was?
random. Give me a rusher. It was
I was going to give you a receiver.
nope.
Rondé Gadsden.
Nope. And so
OJ McDuffie.
he knows why I came over, but he doesn't really know what I was thinking.
Chris
So
Chambers.
hopefully he's at work. Like, I go in my head, I swear to goodness, I'm like, man, how good's this dude's son gonna have to be where I'm not gonna give him a hard time about being a grown up in a jersey? That's exactly what I thought. Then I schlepped my way across the gym, and I was like, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you guys."
What's going on, bud? Big Dolphins fan?
That's what I said. And to this day, as you could tell, we're boys.
Yeah, it wasn't Jason Taylor, was it? That's
I
probably not random enough.
No.
I'm trying to think of who else was
This dude, he collects them too.
Was a rusher on that team. So I know the one Dolphins fan. I think you know him too. I think you went to high school with him.
Who?
My guy DT, Dennis Taylor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's big Dolphin, big Miami everything fan. Heat, Dolphins, whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was my boss for like 6 years.
Did I tell you how smart that dude was in high school?
Oh, I worked for him. I know how smart he is.
Speaking of which,
I love that dude. One of my favorite bosses.
Venmo fraud protection guy.
Yes. Yeah. This was
You're rocking with Mateer?
100%. Yeah. That he's 100% telling the truth. I guarantee you he's telling the truth.
Okay. Give me. I love that guy as an actor. Who's the guy that played the Punisher?
Oh,
is it Bernthal? Is it John Bernthal?
Yeah, John Bernthal.
I love him.
Yeah.
Quietly.
He's super intense.
He even made The Accountant too decent.
Yeah.
Certainly not as good as The Accountant, but
he plays Ben Affleck's brother in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they didn't meet till the end when they're about to off your boy at the house. That's a good movie.
The first one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Big Ben Affleck is a weirdo guy.
Yeah.
I don't. So I'm scrolling. So I only Venmo a handful of people.
Yeah.
The strangest label I have, I gave to my man Iowa JD, my buddy JD Hallberg, and I said beef pickup.
Yeah.
It was not a beef pickup.
That's because you're an adult.
I email my barber I Venmo. Sometimes I put a pizza slice. Sometimes I put a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
If it makes me use words, this time I said being a special person. I do make up things.
Yes. I'm telling you, I told Austin about this because I found out about it live on air yesterday because I was a little preoccupied the day before.
Yeah.
But I was telling Austin, like, I cannot tell you.
Kobe does love extremes. Zero chance, huh, Kobe? Zero?
Kobe, I'm telling you, I literally did this for a living.
Zero chance, Kobe? Not even a sliver?
The amount of dumb stuff, I would guarantee you he's telling the truth because he was buying probably beer or weed. Because he was 18 when it happened.
Oh.
He was buying either beer or weed while they were watching probably the USC UCLA game.
And he's at Cal. He's in California, right?
Yeah. So legal to buy the weed, but
wait,
probably
where was he at the time?
He might have been in Washington.
Yeah.
I think he was in college.
Yeah.
I think he was a freshman in college. So he's in Washington, which I believe it's legal there also in 2022.
But you can blow trees in Washington?
You might have to be 21 though.
Why is it always got to be beer and weed? Why can't it be like school supplies?
Because I'm telling you, as some
hey, he's 18 going to Walmart to get his 3-ring binder.
Yeah.
Hey,
his pencils.
Can I go get my legal pad number 2 leads?
Can I tell you how many times?
You think he had the big long rubber eraser that you could only use like twice before it broke?
Or maybe the ones that put on the top of the pencils. I mean, you know.
I can tell you.
Those suck.
Like, for whatever reason, like 18 to 20-year-old dudes think they're hilarious on Venmo, and they put things in there. I can't tell you how many times somebody has been like, for sexual favors or something more explicit. And guess what? It was never for prostitution. Ever. It just wasn't. Right? So, like,
hey, what voice is that? I'm curious because when you go condescending, but it's kind of in the natural.
I don't know.
You just roll right
happens.
into it. I was like, God, that dude can be such a Richard head.
Like,
seamlessly. It wasn't. Why does it go again?
It wasn't. Like, you know how many times I've had to email someone because they were like, for Osama bin Laden's birthday party. And guess what? It wasn't Osama bin Laden's birthday party.
Heath ain't buying it.
I'm telling you.
Heath, how would that sound if you said what you typed? If you get the dots, Sure, Ravi.
I know. Heath.
Yeah, I know.
I know exactly how that sounds.
Sure, Ravi.
Heath, let's take some screenshots of your Venmos from like 8 years ago and see what it looks like. I knew you in high school. Let's try this.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Let's give it a go. Let's see what happens. I'm telling you, I probably monitored 10,000 Venmo transactions in my fraud monitoring career.
Yeah.
That wasn't for sports gambling.
So is he as guilty if he's giving somebody else the money?
I mean, yes. I mean, if he gambled on it, yes.
But if he's giving it to his boy, maybe his boy used it.
Still gambling. What do you think? He's like Shohei Ohtani, just like covering somebody else's debts, or what?
Hey, I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm gonna need you to put this in for me.
I don't want to put this in trouble, so I'm gonna Venmo you publicly sports gambling. No, he's a dumbass 18-year-old buying beer because
you think they were blowing trees and drinking?
Yes, I do.
Natty Lights
while they're watching USC UCLA. I 100% think that's what happened.
Hey Tim, I'm gonna need you to pick up a 12-pack and a couple of bowls. We good? Yeah, just hit me up. I don't have it on me. All right, check Venmo here in a minute. Cool.
Yeah, and then they're probably like, ha, sports gambling, dumbass. I guarantee you.
I don't know, man.
I would. Maybe not 100%, like 98% certainty.
In my best Heath voice, sure, Ravi.
You don't know Heath like that. Let's get to our guy, Brian Christopherson, coming up next. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. I know. I'm moving on. We're moving on. It's Hurrdat Sports Live.
You can't say that, Heath.
Man, that guy's special. I mean, he truly is. I mean, 18 years old, leaves home for the first time, goes to a different country, leaves his family, which he's unbelievably close to. And what Coach said about him is everything is accurate. I mean, that guy knows every one of his teammates. And his teammates love him because the energy he brings in the building, not just because he's able to do what he can do with the football, but the guy's special. And I said it the last place I was at, and I'll say it about Arch. The guy's gonna be a damn weapon. And you got to understand this: in punting, special teams in general, every punt he hits isn't going to be a 55, 60-yarder. He'll miss hit one. That's going to happen. And when it does, I'll take it. All right, but I'm telling you, when you look up at the end of the year with his body of work, you're going to go, holy cow, this guy is the real deal.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live. Here is Husker 24/7 senior writer, Brian Christopherson.
Yeah, you got guys walking into Ace Hardware without their shirts on.
Brian Christopherson.
We got a pretty good sewing circle in this state.
Brian Christopherson.
To me, it's like crunch time, baby.
Here is Brian Christopherson.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. We're joined now by Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7. BC, what's going on, bud?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
Just hanging in there. I feel like I haven't talked to you in a while. Is that true or false?
It's false, but I haven't been on the video in like 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, that's
so
right.
We don't have that. We can't make.
Pull over during the rain.
That's right. We can't. We haven't been able to make proper eye contact. So this is better for sure.
I don't get to see you as much during those open periods because I'm trying not to miss work, but I'm not gonna kid you. I'm tempted to ask if I can go down on Monday, but Ravi hasn't given me his blessing yet.
I mean, you're asking me live right now for the first time, so how could I possibly give you your blessing?
You're kind of a prick. I think you'd still say no.
And I think you'd go anyway.
I think Friday's helmets only, and Saturday's like Fort Knoxie. So
yeah, give me some pads.
Monday might not only be my chance.
Let's do some pads. Get shelled up.
BC, how did you decide? Did you flip a coin? Did you say, hey, I'm going to go where everybody else is? Did you say, I want to be different? How did 247 Sports discern what they were going to go watch? Did you wait for Bruntsy to tell you?
No. Brunts doesn't order me around. Get that out of your head. Bruns isn't my dad.
He sees no furrowed brow.
No. Bruns considers me the Ang Lee of shooting. That was a director's reference of shooting practice footage with an iPhone. Everybody else has like more higher tech stuff, and I have my little phone. It's kind of embarrassing, but it's not always about size. I can get a lot out of that thing, and so my job is to shoot video with my little iPhone. So I just bounce around, and yesterday was awesome because you had some great. Running backs trying to pick up Vincent Shavers coming in at 100 miles per hour. I was watching that.
Yeah, he's a frightening individual, isn't he?
Yeah. I was kind of around Terry Braden's crew, I guess. Some of the line stuff. So that's probably what I saw up close the most. And then I had to like zoom in at like times 5.5 to 6 to get across the field with my little iPhone for all the other stuff.
Just speaking about size down where you were, does Williams and Renari look like a guy that you could get 280 out of? Is that not the
leanest 270 I've ever seen in my life?
It's like, but he is like 6'13" though, man. That dude is tall.
You could put another 20 pounds on his thigh.
Like you start to see how some of these guys have stretched. It's weird how they carry their weight, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's got a freak frame. I mean, it's
like that.
Well, Deshaun McCullough, when he first came up, like a month or two after he got here, he's like, yeah, that guy, like, it's ridiculous, like how he looks. So, I mean, even guys that are in the top shape of their lives kind of look over at him and they're like, yeah, that's different. It's just going to be exciting to see just how they can develop that throughout this year and what his role can be and what he can carve out and gain some confidence with it, make some plays in some games, and then you can keep stacking on that confidence and stacking on that body too, like you're saying, with that weight. And I think in a year or so, then it can really take off. Not that I'm not expecting things from him this year. I'm just saying I'm going into the season like let's just look for a nice build on that.
Ravi was having a discussion about, well, for weeks now, I feel like, even though it's probably only been 3 days, but Keona Davis, his frame, Riley Van Poppel's frame and weight versus, like, let's say Ty Robinson's, and is Nebraska undersized? Now, we've been having these conversations like all off season just because people are now that it's season time. Is Nebraska going to stop the run? Isn't it crazy how, or do you think about, with all the talk that there's been about Kristen and Corey Campbell and his group, how it's almost impossible now to guess weights when you look at these guys, right? You're RVP and you think 295, 300, and you're like, how?
Yeah.
Or where? Or that's a good-looking three. Like, whatever it is that you think about hearing the number, the way that it's distributed look at Malcolm Hartzog, right? You're like, really? Wow. Like, you start to get an appreciation for the tandem in which nutrition and strength and conditioning starts to work together.
It's working well when you can go to like the first spring practice, look out on the field, and you can know immediately that's different than I saw like 12 months previous. Like your brain can go back like actually 12 months with body types, and it's that big of a difference with guys.
Yeah, like how was Mekhi Nelson 202? Up 16, 17 pounds still and moving better than he was at 180.
And I would never guess Mekhi Nelson is 202 just looking at him. But that's
you got to
No,
I thought the same thing you did, BC, and he was quick to challenge me.
No, I believe you. I'm just saying that you're right though with the body weights. It's not easy right now to, like, if you had to play a game, they should have a game show if you can get within 7 to 8 pounds on certain guys and see how people do. Maybe make it 4 to 5 pounds, make it a little tougher. But Kristen and Corey Campbell, I know is widely respected by the team, but Kristen, you can't give her enough credit, I think, for the job she does with nutrition and how much the players adore her and just like how she helps them. I mean, Vincent Shavers is a prime example of that. Like he came in, put on like 20 pounds in the first couple of months, and not a bad 20. those guys enjoy it too. That it becomes a process that they like cooking and all that stuff that they get taught, and it's awesome.
I mean, we haven't seen him because he's injured.
How about Dawson Merritt?
Oh yeah, he looks good.
I mean, Malcolm Simpson put on 30 pounds since he got here. Like, there's a lot of guys that kind of fall in that category.
I mean, Dawson Merritt kind of looked like Shane in the spring, and I get it. He was coming off the shoulder injury, and I was like, yeah, he got a long way to go. And all of a sudden, there's like these 20 pounds of most. Because the hard part about it, B, is as a player, you hear a number, and you figure, I know how I feel good.
You think it means a certain thing,
and you're resistant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're at that number before.
You're kind of resistant. Yeah. You're like, I want to be able to do this, or I feel good at this, and they're like, no, trust me. And it's like, so you don't listen, you don't do everything you're kind of supposed to do. Meals find their way into the trash, and it's like, hey guys, like, trust the process.
Yeah, then they see what the GPS is showing with their miles per hour. It's tracking higher, and it's like, all right, we'll go with this. So yeah, I do think that it's a good looking team. It's the best looking squad. Just when you're shooting your little iPhone videos or whatever you're doing, that Matt Rhule has had, and now it's about those little things and doing them at a high level consistently. Just that drum beat where you do it every play, there's a certain standard. And if they apply that, they're going to win a couple more games this year.
BC, it's funny you brought up Williams and Winari because obviously, I mean, I think I'm higher on the defensive line than just about anybody's been. I don't think that's an exaggeration. But that's a guy.
Nor the 100th time you said it.
That's a guy I barely think about sometimes when I'm talking about the defensive line.
Like
to me, it's, hey, whatever you get out of that guy's a bonus. I like them independently of trying to project, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like, I think I talked about this in the spring, but if there was any other year where Nebraska was bringing in a 5-star defensive end, is there any way that he would be flying this much sort of under the radar? Like, I hardly even think about him in that room except for it'd be nice if you get something out of him.
Yeah, it's been good for Williams, I think, in that sense that, we do hype a lot of things up around here, but I don't think in his case, compared to some past seasons, and there's not even really an equivalent to him. I mean, he was ranked number 6 overall in that recruiting class in 24/7 Sports rankings. That was actually one ahead of Rhule in the final spot. And I do think I'll give fans and media credit on that one. There's sort of been a let him grow behind the scenes deal with him. There's a curiosity for sure about what he's going to be, but I don't think the hype has been too much with him because maybe that's because we've put the lens more on. I've called him kind of the core 4, with Riley, Van Poppel, Lenhart, Judy, and Keona, and sort of what they're going to be. Can they answer the bell? And so I think that conversation maybe has taken some weight off of other people. So maybe that's good in a way.
How about like the youth? The potential youth movement, and Coach Snow kind of alluded to it, and I love it because he's telling us without telling us about what the expectation level is, about development and coming to practice and what it's like to maybe not see the immediacy of playing time, but to still attack the day. And I can't help but to think of guys like Peter Zach and Hofkin and guys like that, where it's like, I may be a couple of bodies away. I'm looking over here at Cam and Lenhart, and this dude may be having the best camp he's had. But I don't want to be the guy to not hold up my end of the bargain. That's really when the true development starts to happen, is when guys take on the ownership of not being the weak link. And it's paying dividends for those pups along the D line, especially if the thought process is, hey, in time, you're going to be the guy. Like, you need to prepare as though that's the case. Like, it's cool.
You know what's so valuable to that point too, I think, is because you can have more staff hands-on now. Like, some of those guys who maybe are realizing right now, I'm not top of the depth chart or quite where I hope to be even in March or April. Some of them are getting coached by Phil Snow, Like, you know, a guy like who's been a very successful defensive coordinator, who's done this 4 or 5 decades, and they're getting like hands-on, hard love coaching from Phil Snow, and that'll keep you going. And it shows like that they, not that they don't think this otherwise, but it's like, man, they're invested in me. They're trying to get me to that level where even if it doesn't happen this year, it's going to happen the next. And then connected with that, you have Eckler and special teams. And I think this kind of ties with it. If all things are even, as he said yesterday, between some of the personnel they're looking at, if he had his druthers, he'd go with the younger guy, get him out there if it's close, and you're getting him that game experience and all that stuff. And so I just think you kind of put those things all together, and there's probably a better chance you can keep guys who maybe aren't in the first 53 right now, as we would say, going, like seeing like, okay, they're still looking at me closely, and I am just that far away, and these guys are showing it to me that I gotta be ready for it.
It's funny you bring that up, BC. DB and I had this big conversation yesterday. About younger guy versus older guy playing upside in the long term versus playing upside today, right? Because even having coached a different sport and whatever, I would always think about upside as long term, right? I'm going to play this young guy because his upside by the end of the season is greater. And DB kind of brought it home for me and be like, yeah, but their upside today might not be. So if I'm going to live with mistakes, which mistakes do I want to live with?
That's the part that we kind of forget about as a fan base, because the easy answer is, hey, all things being equal,
play the young guy.
Play the young guy.
Yeah.
But coaches sometimes have to think, I'm trying to limit the variables. So even if I'm banking on upside, who still has the least amount of variables right now? Because I still have to achieve the desired outcome, right? Which is to win games. So that's the part sometimes we don't think about when we go old versus young.
Right.
Coaches are thinking, I still want as few variables as possible.
Right. And every individual situation is going to be different. And I think when Eckler was saying that yesterday, it was more just like, this is basically a tie. Like this guy has got himself to a point as like a redshirt freshman. That's how I took it, at least, where he's even with this guy who has put more tread on his tire. He's used up a lot of miles in his career already out of his position. We might as well let this other guy go. If you can do that in certain cases, which he did very effectively at Tennessee, playing walk-ons and younger players, I do think that has to help your room too. Like guys walk in Monday after a game and they have actual film to look at from having competed. So we'll see how that all plays out. But I thought that was interesting.
I do also wonder sometimes, BC, with the special teams part of it, that I wonder sometimes the mentality of some of the younger guys versus some of the older guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Team culture thing and whatever. But if you haven't gotten onto the field at your specific position yet, like maybe you're a little bit more excited to get onto the field as a special teams guy, and hopefully you don't have that disparity in sort of buy-in or commitment or whatever. But I do think there's somewhat natural where it's like, hey, if I'm working in the 2 deep, right, so I'm seeing the field at my position, like maybe I'm less enthusiastic or less focused on special teams than I am if I'm a redshirt freshman. I know, hey, if I'm going to make an impact on this team, it's going to be on special teams.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's your like one thing to make a difference, and you're going to put a lot of juice behind it. I also just think, like, I love when Eckler said yesterday, put it on me. Just like if something, there's a mistake, right? X stinks, that sort of thing where guys are going to want to play so hard for him and not have that failure. I know you guys talk a lot about how people process information and stuff. That's an example of it where people hopefully take it the right way. Like he had a line where he says, those guys have a free pass then, or so he had some line like that. And I know what that means. And I think you guys do that. To like, you have that freedom, like just go out and do it. Have confidence in yourself. We're going to succeed. So hopefully people understand what's said in a quote like that. But, I thought that was a great thing. And I just think there's such an eagerness for people to be in that room right now and want to be a part of those units.
You know what's interesting? I'm listening to this. Well, man, thank the Lord I actually pay attention. Sparks thought, B. Sparks thought. I know some guys that are in the 2 deep that are also thinking, winning a job on special teams and flourishing in it helps them navigate the too deep.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, that's a byproduct of kind of what you guys are talking about. If we hold special teams in a high enough regard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that's how it was on the crew you played with. I mean, it was like, this
Oh,
is.
it was, right? It's like, okay, you don't think I can beat this guy out? Watch me with the ball in my arms in the open field. Like, watch me catch this.
Let me show what I can do.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I that's 100%.
You know what, Damon? I saw a game. I was watching it, and kind of because of Eckler, it was when you guys. It was one of the best Husker wins, actually. When you're undermanned, when you beat K-State out there in '94, and Eckler was on special teams for K-State at the time.
Yep.
You had a nice play in that game. I think you forced a fumble. I was like, oh, there's DB popping up.
Smoke that cat, and I was like. And I'm gonna be honest because it's BC, and I feel like I can be. You're not gonna hurt my feelings.
Sure you trust.
I was so mad about giving a guy the ball that many times without subbing. Somebody was gonna feel what I was feeling. Right? I'm like, you really? The plan is to give this ball the guy 40 times when we're pretty good? Like, somebody's going to pay.
And he only had one arm, too, if I remember right. Or he had an injury.
I was so pissed at the Florida game going in about the rotation because LP was coming back.
Yeah.
One of the very first special teams plays, I broke Tate George's – I broke his shoulder blade on a kick return. Like, I'm like, I was just a jerk, right? It's like – but that's how it is when if you don't get your opportunities other places, like you use that as a way to be like, you know what, somebody's gonna feel my first.
Yeah, in a roundabout way, we actually applied that right to the present right there. Yeah, that's what it's got to be. Like, so someone else has this right now. This is my role. I'm going to maximize it, and it's going to expand roles elsewhere. And so that's the mindset you have to have. And I do think if special teams is really humming. And there is sort of this, like, we're going to be one of the best in the country. Do you want to be on the ride? I think that's huge to get guys thinking that way. And that's why I'm all for them kind of pumping it up. When Ja'Cory Barney walked in the room and said, I'm going to lead the nation, I like that stuff. Like, I mean, I think that unit needed an injection of that. It's not whatever happened, it's gone. Don't forget it. This is what we're going to be. We're going to be confident about. Let's go.
You know, it's interesting too, like just maturation going back here and now, because you want guys that approach practice like Barney. Don't let me fool you. I would not enjoy. I want a lot of Barneys out there, but I'm not going to act like he'd be cool to go against in practice all the time.
Oh, he'd drive you crazy.
Because I didn't like guys like that. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Phil Ellis was like that, where you just eye roll. It's like, God, not you again. You know what I mean? It's like, I got to see this guy again. I like chill.
Yeah.
But the more you get guys like that, it's either you put up or shut up or you get hurt. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I think Nebraska should be after.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. But Barney's a chatterbox out there. He definitely definitely is
100 miles an hour all the freaking time. And you just don't want to be embarrassed. That's like Shavers.
Mm-hmm.
You can lollygag if you want to. You're gonna get smoked.
Yeah.
Right. There's just guys out there that force you to be on high alert.
I'm as eager to see Shavers as anybody on this roster this year, just where he elevates. That's not like a bold prediction that he's going to get to this high up the mountain or anything. I just think he has some natural traits with a year of experience that are going to be fun, and I think he can be utilized in Butler's defense in creative ways that really accent his talent. So if you said give like 3 or 4 guys who you're most excited to see, he's on that list.
BC, what do you think about Coach Snow's comments about sort of his role on the team? That's sort of one of the first times we've gotten, I guess, real specifics about it, about who he was working with, how he was doing, and then kind of how he was mentoring some of the other coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think he just has so much value for this place and time. He would it for any program, but when you think about Nebraska's defensive staff, and you have some guys who have been good coaches in other roles, but now it's sort of their big shot, like as full-time assistant types, Terry Braden and Phil Simpson and Addison Williams has been around, but he's got like 25, 26 DBs over there. So you're going to need some help with that. I just think he's that perfect guy to be an in-between between knowing Matt Rhule so well that, as you said earlier, he can call him Matt, and it works.
I was like, what the?
Yeah, he's the elder statesman and he can do that. So he's got that connection and knows what the head ball coach, as Eckler would say, wants. And, you can relay that to the younger guys and stuff like that. But also you can bank on your experiences that you had as a coach up and coming. There's things that I'm sure pop up every day that I would never know about in that profession that someone can put a hand on your shoulder after this or that and give you wisdom. So I think that's a big deal. And then I'll go back to it. I just think if you're a younger player and you're not sure what your role is going to be specifically this season, if you're on the 2 deep or whatever, if you're getting coached up that hard by somebody with that kind of resume, that has to resonate with you and be a big deal. So I think all those things matter a lot. And then obviously the sounding board he is for John Butler, I think is big. I know in the spring, Butler talked about how he would sometimes ask Phil, just sort of as a gauge, where we at, like kind of big picture, where you think we're at compared to the past. That's got to be really useful, especially this time of year when it's, the knees start to knock maybe a little bit when you're about 2 weeks from a game.
I just think it's interesting listening to you talk about the tutelage that you can get when you're not getting it from the main position coach. I think one of the underappreciated things about what this staff can do for development is you're getting real good tutelage. And I think you saw this. If you were over with Coach Braden, I mean, he's got one of the best D-line assistants. So you look at Coling, along the offensive line with Donnie, the support of the support, I think is equally as important, and it's going to really help you situationally in game if you have to figure something out, if it doesn't have to be done by the main guy.
Right.
Like I can't state that enough.
Yeah, every guy over there, because there's so many coaches and they're allowed it now, has someone who is very specific with that person, who is really knows what their strengths and weaknesses are each day. And like if they do get elevated, I would think would be, like an Adam D. Michelle, like working with the defensive backs. You mentioned Coling.
Great call.
Yeah, I mean,
I love him, by the way.
I'm blanking on his name right now, but Andrew Verbois, who works with DeKeel Shorts. I mean, he's a big deal. Like Dane Key, gets a lot out of him. And so, I mean, all those guys who we don't write about as much are so critical to that staff, but also to specific players right now. They're probably that player's guy, at this moment in a way. And I think that's very useful.
If Dvorak's going to get on a knee and teach a guy some technique that's coming along like Dawson Merritt, that takes away from the total coaching time, right? You have to feel comfortable with your staff that somebody's got your back in those teachable moments. It's crucial.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's our guy, Brian Christopherson, Husker 24/7 BC. Great stuff as always. We appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, B.
Yep.
Our guy, Brian Christopherson.
Yeah, it's
Michael Brunson's not his dad.
I love the look. For as mean as BC could look, he's like,
Brunson isn't my dad.
Yeah. I can't wait to catch Brunson's response.
That's all right. That's why
should I be talking to Bruns this week?
What do you mean?
He was very mean last week.
Was he?
He's pretty naughty.
I don't remember what he said last week.
Oh, God, I was getting crushed.
I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar.
Okay.
Coming up next, we're going to talk to Andy Kendeigh from KETV. But don't forget, even though people are heading back to school, you can still get the summer specials here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. The Cajun Shrimp Wrap, the Chicago Dog, the Philly Steak Pizza. It's all here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill, both locations, La Vista and Gretna. We'll be back for more Hurrdat Sports Live.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, We have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centris Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Here at Omaha North with Camp Confidential, Coach Martin is our next guest. Coach, obviously you lost basically your whole offensive line outside of one. You lost one of the greatest leaders this school's ever seen, and not saying a lot, in Tyson Terry. But you still are going to be in the conversation because you're Omaha North football with Larry Martin as the head coach. How has the adjustment been so far with this new group?
You know, I think that the biggest things that you try to talk to the kids about is that you don't replace guys like that. You just don't. You learn from what they brought to the table and learned how that enhanced your program. And I was proud to sit here and listen or stand there and listen to the kids about the different things that young man stood for and what he brought to the program. And you know, they're not trying to be Tyson Terry. They're trying to be themselves, which they did. And unfortunately, we got a little bit of dose of that because Tyson got hurt, you know, on the field. And
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
To me, it's a little bit different. You have your punt returners and your kickoff returners. And I've always said this. I mean, it was an old saying that I heard years ago. You know, a punt returner is truly like a fart in a skillet. I mean, that guy's just He's gone, you know. He's one cut, make you miss. Think about this. You're back there returning a punt, right? There's 22 players on the field, right? 21 of them are running at you. Your own guys and 21 are running at you. And so there's different levels, and there's different, they're spread out, there's levels, and you want to make sure that you understand the leverage of the return. But I tell our guys, you're like Picasso. I'm not back there. You got to paint the picture. It may be designed to go inside, and by nature of what happened during the play, you can take that thing to the field and go score. Go do it. So again, they can't be wrong. But that's you gotta be that guy. You gotta be like an outfielder, a center fielder who can track the ball, who wants to go get that thing, right? And our saying on punt return is, get it started, man. Just get it started. And our objective, we want to lead the country in punt returns, the number of returns. And then at the end of the year, we'll look up, and you want to average 10 yards or more. So every time you return a ball, you're giving your offense a first down. So instead of starting on the 30, you're on the 40, 40, you're on the 50, right? And that's what we were able to do the last place I was at. And it won a bunch of games for us.
Hey, Mike, have you seen...
Going on, but kickoff return is a different deal. Kickoff return, it goes back to Days of Thunder, where he's going around the corner and there's the wreck in front of him and all he sees is smoke. Remember that scene? And his pit man saying, drop the hammer. You got to be able to run through the smoke. You got to drop the hammer and run through the damn smoke on kickoff return. So it takes a little bit different guy there.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live. We've got our guy Andy Kendeigh now joining us from KETV. AK, what's going on, bud?
Morning. It's moving day. Do you think any of the college kids know the reference to Days of Thunder? That movie came out 35 years ago.
So I was going to ask, are you more of a fart in a skillet guy or a lay the hammer down guy?
I'm a rubbing his racing son guy.
I have.
My goodness.
Yeah, he's wild. I'm listening to this. I'm listening to this yesterday, and you guys know me, so I can always be honest. I try not to give you like the edited sounds appropriate. I give you the gunk too. So two things crossed my mind because I'm super childish. Number one, I was like, "Yeah, is that right, Coach? I was good at both." And then my other response, AK, was, of all the things that people have called me, and of all the times I've been hard on myself or whatever, at no point in 50 years have I ever referred to myself as a fart. I didn't even know adults still use the word fart. I'm like, what is a fart in a skillet? It's going to be, it's going to be poof.
That's what he was saying. He's like, you're gone.
I'm like, So I wasted a good 3 minutes of my life yesterday, AK, trying to envision passing gas in a skillet. I'm like, am I flammable? Am I hot? Like, what is? Yeah, that was your guy yesterday, AK, in all my glory.
And when you look through it, and when you get through it, what he's saying is true, though, DB. You, above all, can understand. Like, there is seriously, on a punt return, there are 21 guys running at you. I mean, that's got to be a pretty lonely feeling back there. But what he says is true. Like, his goal is to get a first down on every punt and kick. Like, get 10 yards and get it going. And I thought the message, he's between him and Archie yesterday. I mean, those were the two huge storylines, and it was a really, normally special teams is kind of like I don't know, you don't want to say a throwaway day from the media perspective, but yesterday was gold in terms of what we received and what we got in terms of, kind of taking a view behind the curtain. That was pretty amazing, and I could listen to Coach Eckler for a while. You understand why his units are so highly respected and nationally ranked, because you want to play for that guy, right?
Yeah, I was hoping we would have given him a little more grace with what he said because he has a proven track record. I thought the reactions to what he was saying was pretty cynical. I had my pouty pants on yesterday, AK, not
Well-
happy with how he was received.
Well, I'll tell you, I just think people gravitate towards the catchy one-liners, you know, and then they say, what's this guy all about? But if you really listen to his message, if you listen to all 21 minutes or whatever it was yesterday, there's some substance behind that, and there's no question the guy knows his stuff, and that's why he was brought here. And speaking about a little interested in just, I understand why people say don't read the comments, because anything about Archie Wilson, if you see any of the posts or whoever posted, multiple outlets posted his comments, and stay out of the comments. I mean, come on.
I know. I just don't get it. I just don't get it.
I don't understand. I don't understand it. Like, the kid is opening his heart. He's wearing his heart out of his sleeve, and I was like, when my girls and my wife says, oh my God, that kid from Australia, I am rooting for that kid in the morning. I know that strikes a chord, because, my girls don't follow this day to day. My wife obviously doesn't care. I mean, she cares enough to.
Oh, I'm telling.
She cares enough about the wins and losses, but she's not in the weeds in terms of the day to day. But when they come down at breakfast, it's my youngest first day of school today, so we were all up early. And when they come down and want to talk to me about what was said at practice yesterday, what strikes a chord. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. when a 18-year-old, now 19-year-old, happy birthday, Archie. When a 19-year-old kid lays it out like that, you're going to root for that kid, and I hope he sets the world on fire with his punts in the next couple of years, because that's easy to root for.
I was like, all we're focusing on is this guy can be a weapon. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Like, I know we wanted him to say it differently, but we can certainly control our own responses, right? There was way more in there than that.
100%. And, I just think that the special teams unit has been so, after what the Nebraska fans have gone through in years past, obviously it's a lightning rod issue for Nebraska fans and for other fans who hate Nebraska to go at the content yesterday. It was just, that's where you just kind of say, God, can we get to a game, please? Can we get to a game?
Yeah. But you know what? You know what's funny? I'm so stubborn and hard-headed. I don't want the easy out of just needing to play a game. I want us to manage our emotions better until we get a game. I know it's not very real. I know it's not realistic, but that's just how I think.
Well, and look at the comment. The people who really go after. Like look at the names on the avatar. And, it's code for guy with a burner account and parents' basement. That's still living at home at 28. So that's what really we're going after. Like, come on, people. Like, get a grip on reality. These are college kids. And they're getting some money now. So, obviously some people think that they can take shots, but man, let's take it, like, let's exhale and let's be human. I mean, this is still a kid out there laying it on the line. And this is a guy who's leading his special teams unit with some really, really catchy phrases yesterday. But behind all of that, I think the message is the Nebraska special teams are going to be better. And what we haven't even talked about, guys, is that Nebraska has 3 kickers who can put the ball through the upright, knock on wood. And we haven't even touched that, or the fact that they've got a long snapper that hopefully has cured their ills.
I like the 33, 33, 34. Like, he should have probably TM'd that one. I'm sure he's not the first to use it, but I do like the breakdown of it, especially as a guy that helps heavily with our special teams at this level, at the high school level.
Right. And people don't realize how important the snap is, which is a third, and the hold is, which is another third, and the kick is just 1/3 of the process.
Until we're in West Lafayette and we see a thing wobble back there, and we're like, that didn't have a chance. Like, why can't we snap the ball? But then you say you're going to have a good snapper, and it's like, eye roll, just play the game. Yeah, well, we tried that. We played a game with a bad snapper How'd that look? Can we work the other way, please?
I thought it was interesting too to hear Kevin Galick talk about it yesterday about how he's had the experience of a couple of years under his belt, 3 years under his belt, and he wants to be a calming force. You don't normally hear that from a long snapper. And isn't it great, though, fellas, that here in Omaha, Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska, that we're interviewing the long snapper? I think that's wonderful. It's just great.
Nothing says Nebraska like interview opportunities.
Absolutely. No question.
Okay, I'm just saying, if anybody's being mean to Archie, they can come catch these hands. All right? Like, I'm not having it. I'm not here for it. Like,
Ravi knows good well he'll get beat up too, but I tell him being tough is just willing to get your ass kicked.
that's fine. Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
We're gonna protect.
That's what we tell our guys. Sometimes being tough is just willingness to go through it.
It's how much are you willing to get beat up? I'm just saying we
Well,
need to protect Archie at all costs. He's a national treasure. All right, and I'm not here for anybody being mean to Archie. Like, because I know every single one of them at some point, if they ever actually did move away for college, probably cried calling home to their mom at some point, and they weren't halfway around the world. So, like, I'm not here
around the world.
I'm not here for it. I'm not standing for it, and they will catch these hands.
Yeah,
like, we're not doing
and
that.
How about the sly comment that maybe slipped under the radar when Eck was saying, if you meet 4 guys in an alley, he wants his head ball coach.
Rhule will take 3.
Yeah, exactly. Rhule will take 3, and I'll take 1.
So you know what?
Was a great line.
You know what's funny though, and I don't know how tough Coach Rhule is or isn't, but in New York we had a late we ate, and it's just traffic, right? So it'd have been quicker to walk, little quaint little Italian spot, and I'm like, fudge, man, I probably got to walk with Jay. I don't know. And Coach Rhule's like, you want me to walk you back? I'm like, listen, man, who are you going to fight that I'm not going to fight? Or is you just telling me there's strength in numbers? But that was the first thing he said, right? So I knew he was a guy that was willing to get his teeth kicked in. And that's like 90% of it. Most guys can't get other guys to go with them to begin with, let alone win or lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and don't you think Coach Rhule, if he did get in any predicament like that with 3 guys, couldn't he talk his way out of that?
No, I
couldn't
think
he reason his way out of it?
He can be,
but he can throw down
super surly and super mean spirited. He's probably choosing to fight first. No, you should have seen him, him and Will Compton racing. He knew he wasn't gonna win, but he had convinced himself.
Like, talked himself into it.
I'm gonna win this thing, and then it turned into
That's
wait till my knee gets right. It's like, come on, man. It ain't
you
happening.
want your guy to be competitive.
It ain't happening.
That's him, though.
I know.
That's great. That's competitive streak. So there you go.
So what about AK when you guys are shooting, and you tomorrow? Hey, impromptu. Key sends out an email to media. You know all the things you know up till 8:13. You get a chance to go shoot one session tomorrow. What are you telling your guys? Where are you going?
Well, we have a laundry list of guys we need and we could use more video of, and so that's probably where we're going. You know what would be nice if we actually had Archie Wilson actually punting the ball.
Oh, gotcha. So that would be number one. Like, if you had your druthers and they turned you loose, you're like, we're gonna go film special teams.
Yeah, and
that's crazy.
I'll tell you what, you can always use more O linemen because of the battle. Because we need Tyler Kanak. I'm talking about individual guys that we need more video of. Even the current video of Teddy Prohaska, Elijah Pritchett. And Gunnar Gatula. Those are the guys that we need. And then some of the defensive linemen we could always use more video of. And the linebackers. I think we haven't had a whole lot of linebackers.
Well, you can't do it all, AK. The question was to pick one.
Well, I'm just saying, in terms of priorities, in terms of what we need video of, that's where we're going. And it'd be something else if that opportunity presented itself. But it's all hands on deck when it comes there. And that's the thing that where we're at from a video. This is inside stuff, but as you know, DB, you only get so much time to shoot. That's why the game stuff is so valuable and the pregame stuff is so valuable, because you can really check off some boxes there.
That's our guy, Andy Kendeigh, KETV. AK, appreciate your time as
Hey,
always.
Yeah.
What do you got,
Wish
AK?
me luck. We got to move in my sophomore in college today into the sorority house. So wish me luck.
Sorority.
I'm headed to Lincoln. Yeah.
Nice
Go
job.
Kyle.
Nice job parenting. Nuts. What are we doing? Sorority.
Yeah, it's my wife's sorority. She's a legacy.
Oh,
so,
blame it.
Both my
I'm
daughters.
doubly
both
telling.
my daughters are. Yeah. Both my It's my.
Now you realize we saved you a seat, not posthumously because you were alive, but at graduation it was like this reference to this great hubby she had, and and Andy
she's
this,
wonderful.
and I'm
What
like,
a great house.
here you are.
It's a great house. Yeah.
And like your
Yeah.
turn, you're in your turn 360, just mowing her down.
It's like, hey, see
But I
that
would
bus?
say
Have fun under it.
Yeah, here it is. I'd be this attitude no matter where we were. If we were moving her into Able or wherever, whatever the dorm we were moving in, it doesn't have to be the sorority house. But actually, the sorority house is pretty easy. It's Nancy's living. It's an easy get to. It's not third floor, which was my other daughter. That's upstairs. This is easy.
And
This is an easy
listen,
deal.
don't let me kid you in my glass house, AK, because Caleb didn't have to move furniture. So
That's right. There you go.
Of course
Boom.
I can sit here and run my mouth like.
That's right. Exactly. There you go.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you.
All right, boys.
We'll see you.
Be good.
That's our guy,
See,
Andy Kendeigh.
I tell on myself all the time.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I'm like, God, this only took a couple hours. Oh, that's right. No
Oh,
furniture.
when you move any furniture, that helps.
Yeah, it's all in the setup. Spoiled.
We'll be back. More Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals. With a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Here at Omaha North with Camp Confidential, Coach Martin is our next guest. Coach, obviously you lost basically your whole offensive line outside of one. You lost one of the greatest leaders the school's ever seen, and that's saying a lot, in Tyson Terry. But you still are going to be in the conversation because you're Omaha North football with Larry Martin as the head coach. How has the adjustment been so far with this new group?
I think that the biggest things that you try to talk to the kids about is that you don't replace guys like that. You just don't. You learn from what they brought to the table and learned how that enhanced your program. And I was proud to sit here and listen or stand there and listen to the kids about the different things that young man stood for and what he brought to the program. And they're not trying to be Tyson Terry. They're trying to be themselves, which they did. And unfortunately, we got a little bit of dose of that because Tyson got hurt, on the field. And
Welcome to Hurrdat Sports Live.
My personality, like, I don't go to Vegas, okay? Because if I played blackjack, I'd push all the chips in the middle. If I was in a dark alley, okay, and there's 4 guys coming at me, I could pick one head ball coach to be with me. It'd be our guy. I'd say, Coach Rhule, you got those 3? I got that one. We'd be just fine. You respect the game by going out and playing your his A off. And that's what he does every day. If we go out and we make a mistake on special teams, I want you to write this. X stinks. All right? It's on me. We're going to go out. We're going to play with our damn hair on fire.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Central Federal Credit Union. That's TV. I'm Ravi Lulla. We're going to play our his A's off this next segment as we are joined by our friend and our colleague, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Can we be colleagues even though we don't work at the same place? Is that a thing?
I think that's an appropriate use of the word.
Okay.
Although one of us is much more professional than the other two.
Well, I didn't want to throw you under the bus.
I would hesitate to use that term if you're describing me. I mean, you could be talking about Ravi. I don't know, Damon. But
well, clearly this jerk is talking about me. That's fine. You guys just have your own party, man. I'm apparently the scrub.
As I listened to that clip from Eckler, it reminded me yesterday that while he was talking and I was trying to put out some updates on social media, I spent like 3 or 4 minutes trying to figure out the correct spelling for his A, and and what it actually meant in terms of like the
not even gonna kid you. I said it out loud to myself, slow, like what?
If I had to guess, I'd go Hizzay.
His A.
Yeah, I think that's probably right, but I couldn't find any actual references to it on the internet, so I left it out. I didn't go with it. It's a good quote. It's a good soundbite though.
Mitch, I'm only asking you because I kind of know your personality. I know how you'd hold me accountable. I know you'd roll your eyes at me and couldn't care less about my reaction. So,
okay,
would Mitch Sherman tell me to get off my soapbox and stop crying because I was a little put off by the reaction to all the adjectives that Coach Eckler used during his presser, right? The weapon and like not lowering the expectation, but maybe raising it even as a coach. Like we didn't know how to handle that as receivers of the information. Would you just be like, come on, man, it's normal. It's how the fan base is. Or would you say, oh, you know what, you kind of got a point?
Well, you might have to explain to me a little bit more, like what kind of reaction you felt. Because I
felt like we missed, we didn't eat the meat and spit out the bones, right? We just hung on to the fact that he said a guy could be a weapon. We kind of took it and ran and it's like, can we just play a game yet? Or we're not there. No. Or,
yeah,
you got all this feedback and I'm like,
there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that this month.
So you would encourage, I'm okay, right? You're not gonna like.
Well, I just think it comes with the territory. Like you have if you haven't figured out by now that there are going to be people out there who, no matter what is said in the lead up to a season, especially as we get close to the season now, you get some of this like in March and April, like just play a game. Well, you can't play a game in March. Like it's not on the schedule. So, and you know what? Like Nebraska football is this machine that is going to just move on and go on. And there's this whole big media horde and thousands or tens of thousands of fans who follow it. And there's going to be hyperbole and there's going to be these adjectives. There's going to be descriptions. There's going to be hype. There's going to be stuff that like seems silly. And then some of the reaction, inevitably, you can't do anything about it, is going to be, I don't want to hear it. Just go out and win a game, show it on the field. And I've come to just kind of accept that as like, that's what it's going to be. It's not like this, this chorus of people saying that who represent the majority of the Nebraska fandom. If that was the case and I felt like everybody had that attitude and nobody wanted to hear any of the buildup, Like, it's just inevitable. Before the season starts, you're going to talk about things related to the team. Like, we're not just going to be quiet and say nothing until they play a game. You're going to make predictions. You're going to, hear what the coaches have to say. Like, we've built this thing to this point. You can't put that back in the bottle. So I'm fine with you being a little bit agitated by that. I am too. But my take on it is I just accept it and know, like, that's normal. There's lots of annoying things out there.
Can I give you the context of what really set me off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Was the cynicism and snark from like years past of, can't we just snap the ball? Like, how are you dumb enough to kick it to the wrong hash? Or
like, that's
you
not
can't even line up and kick a field. So when you hear the antithesis that you may actually be able to do that, like, we don't like that either. And the big thing about it is, Mitch, not really knowing Archie, but kind of knowing a little bit about him, and he's in that room. Like, as in a position of leadership, a lot of what Eck was saying it probably wasn't for us, right? It might have been for Arch. You know what I mean?
Or all the guys on special teams. I mean, when he was talking specifically about Archie.
Yeah.
I mean, Rhule does that a lot, and he's talking to the players when he's actually talking to the media. He's actually talking to the players, or maybe he's talking to somebody on his staff. Like, that's fine, and that's an effective tool. Yeah, I think with Eckler, like, that's his personality. Like, that's what it's going to be. He's going to have a lot of bluster, and as long as the team's buying into it, that's all that matters. I think the players do buy into him, and he's a unique creature for sure. And we heard yesterday about how he's got an office down by the weight room, like a second office, which is just like so uniquely Mike Eckler. Like, why'd you do that? Well, I felt like I needed to have some place to be where I was closer to the players. Okay, like, yeah, that makes sense when you listen to him talk. I understand it somewhat from the fans' perspective. Like, they've been drugged through the mud so much over the years that it sometimes becomes difficult to separate the reality that this team is different, and like, all teams are different. And just because Nebraska struggled with the field goal operations last year, or 4 years ago, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen this year. There's different personnel, there's different coaches, there's a different mindset. Like, sometimes I even struggle with it when I'm thinking about, like, okay, what should be like my public opinion on this football team, because I look at the team, like, out there at practice yesterday, and hearing the things that they've had to say. And I'm not living in a globe, like in a bubble where, like, the windows are so tinted that I can't see out. Like, I was at Big Ten Media Days. I talked to 17 other teams from the Big Ten. I've been around the country and in football camps in the SEC and in other places. Like, I realize, and I think a lot of people do, that other teams out there have great players too. And just because Nebraska has an offensive guard who's 6'5" and 320 pounds and looks like he could be in an NFL camp, like, that doesn't necessarily mean that you should say Nebraska is going to win 10 games, because that guy is on other campuses too, all over the Big Ten. So you have to, like, understand the perspective. But the bottom line is, when I look at this team, and when I hear people, when I hear the players talk, and when I hear what the coaches have to say, and I see them at practice, like, I trust what my eyes are telling me. Like, I'm not taking into account, like, what happened in 2019. I understand this is a good football team. Now, can they go execute and win 9 games? We'll see. There's a lot of other variables that come into play.
See, Mitch, you brought something up there that I think is really important, and that's that the evaluation of, hey, this is a good football team, which we've heard from Coach Rhule a little bit last year, a little bit this year, and what that actually looks like in wins and losses is not necessarily as linear as we would like it to be, right? Like, there, to your point, there's other good teams in the Big Ten. And just because I think they're going to win 10 games doesn't mean you think they're going to win 10 games. Doesn't mean Coach Rhule thinks they're going to win 10 games. Like, we don't really know what that means necessarily. I think it's a starting point of, hey, we have players that are good enough to execute at a level to win here. Now we just have to go do that. And I don't know that we always bridge that gap as kind of fans and media.
Sure. Yeah, it's easy to get carried away and just assume that, like, a team that looks the part is automatically going to then achieve the kind of success that you would expect when you get to the season. And that's there are injuries, there are team dynamics, there's all kinds of, good breaks, bad breaks, luck is a part of it. And I'm sure Mike Eckler would say, we don't believe in luck. We create our own luck, go out there and be men, all the kind of, that's just him. And it's probably good to have like that guy on the staff who just takes that hard line stance, and then have others on the staff who, who handle how you deal with expectations in a different kind of way. Like he's hardcore. Like there's no doubt about that. And we heard all of it on Tuesday. But then there are other coaches on the team. Like Matt Rhule takes a different approach to some of that stuff, and it's good for the players to have a variety of voices to hear, and like they can adopt whatever philosophy they want. Like it's every player has his own journey on how he's going to get to the peak of his own ability. But yeah, I mean, there's a big gap to bridge. You're right, Ravi, between looking like a successful Big Ten team when you're on the practice field, and then going out and achieving that in November when the season is on the line over a 2-game stretch.
Yeah, I think it's fascinating because there was a little bit of a reference yesterday from Coach Snow where he said, I kind of feel sorry for Terry because Coach Rhule's a D-line guy, right? And so he's going to spend some time having some input with D-line. And I thought about that in its totality, right? Where if I'm a coach, and he said it again with Coach Butler, where he can't pay attention to everything. So sometimes we'll do this. There's actually, in my opinion, there's comfort in that as in the hierarchy. If I know that everybody is on the same page as me as a teacher and they can teach them, and it frees me up to go do something else. It only enhances an attention to detail with the more capable coaches that you have. Is if you trust them. Like that might be kind of the theme, if you will, of having so many guys with such good resumes across the board, right? Where you can you can free yourself up to do some other things because you trust other guys.
Yeah, I think that for guys like Terry Braden and maybe Addison Williams, I mean, Addison Williams he's been a coordinator, and he's got John Butler,
bright guy too.
Yeah, and he's got John Butler as his DC, who was the secondary coach last year, and he's got Phil Snow as the associate head coach, who works primarily with the defense and says he's been spending most of his time with the secondary. I would think there would be the possibility that Addison Williams could like come to practice one day and be like, all right, what, who's running the DBs here? Or if you're Glenn Thomas and you coach the quarterbacks, but Dana Holgerson's specialty is working with quarterbacks, and he spends a lot of time with your top guy, Dylan Raiola, like Glenn Thomas could wonder, like, what do I do here in this operation? Same thing with Braden, same thing with some other coaches. We could go through the list. Like, as long as those guys look at that as the reality is, like, they're living in a world where they have tons of support, and maybe in comparison to the way that college football worked, like as recently as like 3 or 4 years ago, you don't have as much like of the nitty gritty on your plate. Like, there are people there to help you, as long as they all like recognize that and are willing to embrace that these bigger staffs now, and the method with which a program like Nebraska goes about attacking individual positions, like that's evolved, then they're good. Like basically, if they're not selfish in the way that they go about doing their jobs, and like, I don't think assistant coaches generally are, like, they don't usually get a lot of the credit anyway. It's just gone to a whole new level now because there's so many more people around with this Nebraska operation. Like, then everything's fine. Like, Terry Braden is a first-year college assistant coach. I think he probably could use a lot of what Matt Rhule, as a former D-line coach himself, or Phil Snow or Phil Simpson, like what those guys have to add. Like in a former in a system of like 10 years ago, like you'd throw him out there and he might be swimming right now because there was so much that was going on, not to mention like the recruiting responsibilities that you have that exist 12 months out of the year. Like now, comparatively, he can really focus on the things that he wants to. Braden can, and like that should be a good thing.
Mitch, it's funny you bring up Braden. Obviously, I think it was Coach No yesterday talked about sort of his role and how he's kind of got the hardest job on the staff because Matt Rhule's D-line back, things like that. And did you get at all a sense of sort of some of the dynamics at play? We heard Coach No for the first time really kind of talk about where he's spending his time. Obviously, we hear from Coach Rhule and kind of where he spends his time a lot of the time. We've heard a lot coming into this about so many cooks in the kitchen and things like that. Have you started to get a better sense for who does what and who goes where and how that dynamic's all working?
At practice, I have. I'm curious to see what that looks like on Saturday, like what Phil Snow's doing, or on Thursday night in 2 weeks, what Phil Snow's doing during the game. And we won't know. We won't hear the conversations on the headset. That'd be great if we could, but we won't. Like how Matt Rhule's input in a game, now that, and he had Dana for 4 games last year, but like how that has evolved over the last 12 months. I definitely have a sense of how that breaks down in practice. And some of that is from being out there at practice yesterday and just like keeping an eye on the coaches who are at the top of the food chain. Rhule doesn't get his hands dirty a lot at practice. Like he's in a place, and he's talked about this, but you actually see it when you go out there. And I'm sure you've seen it, Damon. He's kind of on the side. I mean, is there ever a time where he blows his whistle and stops practice and like chews somebody out or makes a correction or offers praise? Absolutely. But for the most part, he's in the background. Like he's over on the sideline observing and, taking in the whole picture. Like it's not something that he was able to do as much in years 1 and 2. Correct me if I'm wrong.
So one thing I really like though, Mitch, and he's really good at this, is if he wants to interject something on an individual level, like let's say he's watching D-line and it's during a transition, like he can go over to Keona or RVP or Hofkin or somebody, he can put his arm around him and he can impart whatever it is that he wants, or he can pull a guy out of a linebacking drill if he wants and say, hey, listen, V9 with your hands when you see the I like the fact that he can put his personality and his like mental toughness or fundamentals or whatever it is anytime he wants to, because I think he's secure in his role. That's actually, I think, going to be a really, really good thing. Like he can go over to Isaiah Hunter and say, listen, this is hypothetical, but you see how hard Barney practices. If you want to go from this to this is the level. Like I like the fact that he can do those kinds of things with his personality, because that's really what they need from him. They if they start thinking and acting like he attacks life, they're going to be just fine.
It's funny. He does pick and choose his moments. And like, as an example that I'll point to from Tuesday in practice, there were he called over like a small group of us in the media in the middle of a drill just to kind of chit chat with us. And he's watching the drill with one eye and having a conversation about whatever it might be. Like it might not even have been related to football at some points in the conversation. Like he's just shooting the bull. And he sees something in the drill. There was a defensive lineman who didn't make an aggressive enough move on a pitch to a running back where Rhule thought that the D lineman could have got his hand in there and like knocked the ball away and created a turnover. And instantly, like snap of a finger, his attention goes to that play. So he can be and he calls that guy out in a way that like the player absolutely knows that the head coach was watching. So he can be in the background on the sideline, like kind of doing his CEO thing and not like in the mud of the practice. But when he sees something that needs his attention, he has the ability to immediately make make his presence known. And that's what, that's kind of what I saw up close on Tuesday.
Yeah, and he can even do it with the coaches. If he doesn't like the tempo of practice or transition or whatever, you best believe that whistle's blowing. They're going to meet as adults, and he's going to reestablish what it is that he's after. Like, I don't ever leave that deal like, you know what, his DNA and fingerprints are all over that thing, even as a CEO. And it's more about his temperament and attacking style, right? Like, he can't. I think there's just no chill.
I think when he takes on that role where he can step back and look at it from a larger perspective, it actually allows him to impact things that are important even more, because
that's
he's kind of
that's what I'm hoping happens on game.
Because he's not in the weeds. He's not in the weeds with like a defensive line drill or an offensive line drill. Like, he's looking at the big picture, and when he sees something that needs his attention, he's on it immediately.
Mitch, I wonder sometimes with kind of, I guess, delegating more is the way I would put it, and having this ability to step back and focus on some other things. Like, there's a certain point where it's, and maybe for Coach Rhule's personality, this isn't the case. There's a certain part of me that thinks it might be harder because you have to get so many more hires right.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Like,
he's pretty good at that, though.
Right. And that's why I said maybe it fits his personality, because like maybe that's his strength. But I feel like for a lot of coaches, this setup would be a real struggle. A, because they're not great delegators and they have a hard time letting go of control. But also B, if you're not really good as a, I guess, coaching talent evaluator, like an evaluator of other coaches, like this could be a nightmare scenario if you don't get most of these hires right.
Yeah.
There's some guys as of late that he hasn't had.
He doesn't have the relationships with like a Terry Braden or a Mosey.
Right.
Or whoever, right?
Right. Yeah, he's shown. I think that was a question coming in at Nebraska, like, how good is Matt Rhule at finding pieces for his staff among like the college football coaching circle at large, like in coaches that he hasn't worked with? Because you saw a lot of his Carolina staff, not all of it, but you saw a lot of those coaches just kind of move from one stop to the next with him. And so when he had this opportunity at Nebraska to build a staff that needed to have pieces as a part of it that were not like from his background, it started with Tony White. Although, there was a long ago, there was a connection. Like I shouldn't say there was no connection, but like, if you'd have drawn up like, hey, who's Matt Rhule going to hire as his defensive coordinator at Nebraska in year one if Phil Snow isn't ready to come do that, like Tony White would have been way down the list. Like you had to dig deep into his background. So I consider Tony White to be like an outside of the comfort zone hire for Matt Rhule. And like he smashed that one. Like he hit that one out of the park. Like I have not enjoyed like some of the revisionist history that we've heard in the last few months about Tony White and like maybe how it was a good breakup for Nebraska. No.
It's crazy. That guy's pretty good
listen, I talked to Tony after he got to Florida State, and he was working on a new deal, like a multi-year extension with Nebraska when the offer came from Mike Norvell. And Tony had some reasons why he wanted his family to be in Florida. Whatever, we're not going to relitigate all of that, but Nebraska was not pushing him out the door. That was an excellent hire, and it would have been great for Nebraska to have him back for another year. Now they're in good hands with John Butler. Like it doesn't have to be one or the other. Like they're all good situations. But I got off topic. But to your point, yeah, like he's really good. I think Matt Rhule is really good. John Butler is another guy who was kind of and he also had some long ago connections to Nebraska. Mosey, no connections to Nebraska. Been one of the most important hires that Matt Rhule has made.
There's something about
there's others too.
I absolutely love about Caleb. I kind of know what it is. I think it's the father-son relationship and the ability to coach, but his ability to impart wisdom and kind of invest in how the players gravitate towards it. I have from afar, I have a tremendous amount of respect for Coach Mosey.
You know that when Matt Rhule hired Joey McGuire, he was like 45 years old. and that was about 10 years ago. And you look at Mosey, and he came from a high school, successful high school, just like Joey McGuire did in Texas. And Mosey was like 43, 44.
Yeah, don't think I'm not paying attention to the story.
When he got hired on staff by Rhule, like, where might he be? Where might Jamar be in 6 to 8 years from now? Like, if you look at the path of Joey McGuire, it is not unrealistic to expect that Mosey is going to follow something similar. He could be the next head coach at Nebraska. I mean, like, we're probably jumping a few leaps there. We're jumping a few cycles ahead, and I say that somewhat in jest, but like, I think that's the kind of trajectory that you're going to see for a guy like that, who has that much ability to connect with players. And that's an illustration right there of what Matt Rhule can see in a high school coach, or hey, it can be the head of nutrition at the University of South Carolina, who came recommended by the offensive coordinator, and it takes one meeting with Matt Rhule to realize that this is a person that he absolutely has to have on his staff. And you look at the results a couple of years later and say, and people out in the public might not recognize this, but what is the impact of that person on the program as a whole? I'd argue it's like in the top 2 or 3 of anybody who's on the entire staff.
I joked. He told me one time, if the place caught fire, he said, no disrespect to anybody else, I love them all, but I'm leaving there with 2 people for sure, and it's Coggins and it's Campbell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody else better figure out room temp and the best escape hatch. Like, and that story is incredible. Oh, and I forgot you had the sit down with her, so you get it, right? Like,
oh yeah,
what that process looked like. Oh
yeah, a tremendous amount of admiration for what she does in that building. I saw her at practice yesterday, and she's got the it factor for sure.
Yeah, she gets a couple of nicknames, and it's all good. She does not mess around at all.
And look what she's got the coach doing.
Yeah. Oh, how about almost all of them now? It's like there's this there's this internal she where nobody's going to get fat shamed around that place. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, she knows. That Kristen has a hand in that.
Let me ask you about the competition you see brewing at offensive line. Right, we had all these kind of thought processes, and then we're actually kind of watching it play out. It's forcing us to kind of take a step back, like, oh. And the one thing that I think is really positive, well, there's 2, and they're connected. Number 1, NIL is important, but may not be as directly tied to your role playing as we may think. Number 2, we forget we benched Sims, right? We ate that money. Number 2, Teddy may be very healthy. Kanak may be pretty good. Gatula must have had a really good offseason coming back lifting after the surgery. Like, there's so many positives if you look at it that way about the battles that are going on along the perimeter of the offensive line.
They're definitely at a place on the O-line where they're motivating each other. And that's like ultimately, I'm sure, what Donovan Raiola would say was his goal from day one, was to get it to a place where they're all making each other better. And yeah, he's still going to be the at the head of it and pushing and like doing his thing where he yells, and man, he gets animated in practice for sure. But like, the reason that Gunnar Gatula had a great offseason is probably more because he's in there with Teddy, or he's in there with Tyler Kanak, or he's busting his butt alongside Justin Evans, who's another guy who I think has had an incredible last 9 months, or Lutovsky, who has reshaped some stuff with how he looks. Like, he's what's his body fat percentage? Like,
he looks amazing.
8. I mean, it's more than that.
That's super. Vegas, didn't it? I was like, how does a big guy like that get a tapered look?
Right. So they all are they're at a place now where it's like a cycle where they're all making each other better. So yeah, it was really interesting to hear Troy Dannon. Like, that's maybe the one thing that sticks with me the most that he said on Friday last week is about how they're going to have conversations with every coach whose team gets revenue sharing dollars at the end of each season about what the return on investment was for those players. And that can be a little bit scary because sometimes you bring somebody in and you have to invest a lot in order to get them out of the portal or as a high school recruit, but they're not like a 1-year thing. Like, I'll use Williams Winery as an example. Probably not. Like, he's definitely not going to be at like the best that he possibly can at any point in 2025. But what if he's an All-American in 2027 and a first-round pick? Like, when you have that conversation at the end of the year this season about the ROI for him, you don't know. Like, you can say, the coach can sit down and say, be patient, give us time. Like, he's going to be great. But it's not just him. Like, there's other players like that too, and that factors in with with Elijah Pritchett as he goes through this process in the battle for the left tackle job with Gunnar Gatula, who undeniably they have a bigger investment monetarily in Pritchett that transfer from Alabama than they do with Gunnar Gatula, who's a third-year sophomore from Lincoln Southeast. But like, that should not factor. And like, if you get to a place where it's becoming a big part or really any part of the decision about who starts, because you're thinking about, oh, we got to have this conversation in December about ROI, like, that's why it was so enlightening to me and interesting. And like, I thought it was notable that Dannon chose to say that. Like, I would almost think as an AD, like, you would have that in your mind, but you might not divulge that publicly, that you're going to have these conversations. But he did, and he was transparent, and that's great. I just, I don't know. It'll play out, and we'll see over the course of probably multiple seasons, like how that kind of stuff impacts decisions that are made this time of year.
I can't tell you how important it is too, as a team that's trying to accrue depth, which is going to be hard in college football if your culture isn't built to handle it, where guys need to be motivated knowing they've got an opportunity that isn't based on dollars. It absolutely needs to be able to make sense.
Yeah, right.
Like,
right.
It's going to be crucial. And for whatever the reason, so far, Nebraska's been able to pull it off. And I think a lot of it has to do with Mitch, and tell me what you think. I love the fact, and I kind of said this before, you want Nebraska recruiting the way that they're recruiting, right? They've carried themselves like a top 20 program. They don't just throw money at it. There's long talks that you have to have with Spindlers and Pritchetts and guys like that to make sure that they aren't disruptive, that everybody's on the same page. And yeah, you may miss out on some Sanders and some Bakers, right? Those guys are starting at their respective schools. But in the long run, it's how you want Nebraska spending their resources and evaluating who actually wants to be in Lincoln that isn't revenue driven.
I think part of the reason that they've had success and like that they've developed a culture in this first year of rev share, and like as NIL has really come to represent such an important aspect of every major college program, is because the one player at the top of the food chain who makes the most money does not act like he's entitled. And I think it has an effect on the rest of the roster, where if you're coming in as a big time transfer or you're a freshman in this class of 2025 and you come on campus and you go into that locker room and you see that the player who acts the least like things are owed to him and wants to constantly give back within the team and within the community is the starting quarterback, who was the former 5-star signee. Like, just the tone that he sets allows like everyone else to just fall in line behind him. And that's great for Nebraska that they have that with Dylan Raiola. It's not always going to exist that way. Like, he is a unique case for sure. In part because of his personality and how he was raised. And in part just for all the reasons that he came to Nebraska. So in years ahead, when that dynamic changes and he's not there, 2 years down the road, and you have somebody else at the top, like this is probably something that they can learn from this. Like, you better hope that the guy who's like the face of your program, that he's given off the vibes within the team and outside of the team that you want everybody else to emulate. Like they kind of fell into it with Dylan, and he's a great first guy to have as the one who's leading the way. But I don't know if, like, looking in from the outside, if we all realize like how fortunate Nebraska is to have him in that spot, because it matters, I think, to all of the players who were coming in behind him.
That's our guy, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Mitch, we appreciate the time as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Good stuff, Mitch.
All right. Thanks, guys.
If you're Coach Rhule and you bring those guys over, hey, media, I want to talk to you guys a little bit. Come on over.
Yeah.
What do you think he says?
What do you think he says to the little scrum?
He's probably like, hey, Mitch, I like your Royals. Hey, Sip, why do you have crumbs on your shirt?
I'll say, you think it's all work, or you think it's
I don't know. I have no idea. But I could see him doing it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's never know.
I have a hard time believing he was talking about, like, work stuff. I feel like it was more
I told you,
personal.
A couple times I go with the intent to not say or be anything.
Yeah.
One day he called me over. I felt bad. I kept him for like 30 minutes. I never said a word, barely. But I think that's cool, though, right? Because sometimes you just need, and it's not because it's,
no.
I mean, clearly it's, he's an
it
equal opportunity guy.
Yeah.
Just a real, authentic dude doing real, authentic dude things.
I like it. That's DBM Ravi, Lulla, Hurrdat Sports Live coming up next.
At Centros Federal Credit Union, we have the tools and resources to help our members fulfill their financial goals, with a focus on building a stronger community for the next generation of leaders. Centros Federal Credit Union. We are where you are.
Here at Omaha North with Camp Confidential, Coach Martin is our next guest. Coach, obviously you lost basically your whole offensive line outside of one. You lost one of the greatest leaders this school's ever seen, and that's saying a lot, in Tyson Terry. But you still are going to be in the conversation because you're Omaha North football with Larry Martin as the head coach. How has the adjustment been so far with this new group?
I think that the biggest things that you try to talk to the kids about is that you don't replace guys like that. You just don't. You learn from what they brought to the table and learned how that enhanced your program. And I was proud to sit here and listen, or stand there and listen to the kids about the different things that young man stood for and what he brought to the program. And they're not trying to be Tyson Terry. They're trying to be themselves, which they did. And unfortunately, we got a little bit of dose of that because Tyson got hurt, on the field. And
to Hurrdat Sports Live.
We're back here on Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Central Federal Credit Union. That's DB. I'm Ravi, Lulla here at Hurrdat Sports Bar and Grill. What if you could save even when you spend? Well, at Central Federal Credit Union, you can do just that with their Centris Roundup program. Every purchase you make with your Centris Visa debit card gets rounded up to the nearest whole dollar. That rounded up amount then gets transferred directly from your checking to your savings account. It's a small way to save a little while you're spending that can make a big impact on your savings. Check it out, centrisfcu.org today to learn more about it and to enroll. Terms and conditions apply. Federally insured by NCUA. DB.
Yes, sir.
How we doing?
Hanging in there.
Yeah.
I'm laughing at Shane. I think he's the GOAT. But outside of that, we're good, man.
We love Shane.
Yeah.
We love Shane. No?
You can't just be throwing that word around now.
Well, you know.
What's wrong with Shane?
I mean, I don't know if we have that much time left before our next guest.
I mean, it's a good word. How many other Shanes do you know?
I'm gonna. You are very, very good at throwing me a curveball when you say you can't say that word, and then it's
Like something else?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You can't say grill?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what?
Got to keep watering the bamboo.
Yes, you do, Coach Raiola. Got to keep watering the bamboo.
You can't say bamboo.
Let me ask you a question.
I'm ready. Rocking and rolling.
Are you or have you allowed yourself to think or wonder what it looks like if Nebraska is competent on special teams?
100%. That's how I got to 10 wins. There's two main things how I got to 10 wins. Number one, special teams is not disastrous. That's 2 right there. Dana Holgerson and Dylan Raiola in year 2. That's 2 more. That's 6 to 10. Boom, done.
Okay.
If I'm being totally transparent with you, I think the defense can be about the same. It's going to look different, but effectiveness wise, I think it'll be about the same. I've got good players. I've got good coaches. Coach Rhule said it a million times. We're never not going to be good on defense, right? So I'm taking his word for it. Even the last couple years, when especially 2 years ago, nobody liked any player on that defense. I mean, nobody, right? 2 years ago, coming into the season, we didn't like a soul on that defense.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, hey, they're pretty good.
You know, it's funny. I love that Mitch brought up the fact that just the rewriting of the history
with
post Tony White.
Yeah.
God, it pisses me off. Nebraska, they were pretty good, man.
Can 2 things be true at once? Can he have been pretty good and I still want something a little different?
Sure.
Because I think that's what I think Coach Rhule, when Tony White decided he was leaving, not that he pushed him out.
Yeah, he looked at it as an
decided
opportunity.
He wanted something a little different.
Yeah. But
maybe a little more aggressive.
And I do remember having conversations to the basically like, hey, this is going to be a difficult hire for me as getting a defensive coordinator because I like a lot of the things we did.
Mm-hmm.
I liked how we practiced.
So you don't want to go too far away.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember those conversations.
But
it's like we listen to Tony. It's like we talk about Tony White like he wasn't good at what he did. We spent 2 years complaining about our lack of all conference caliber players and draft guys on Sundays, and somehow we gave up less than 18.6 points 2 years in a row.
Still a top 20 defense 2 years in a row.
Like
and we're like, how come there's no good guys on this team?
Like
well, they played pretty good.
The level of lack.
Now, don't get me wrong. I understand the frustration of
not getting off the field on third down.
Get off the field on third down.
Taking the ball away.
Not taking the ball away, not getting to the quarterback enough, not getting stops in crucial situations late. Those were some trends I didn't love, right? Those things can all be true, and it could still have been a very good defensive coordinator who Nebraska would have been thrilled to keep.
Yeah.
Now, I still think there would have been some conversations about like, hey, Tony, this is your boss Matt talking here.
So why is it cool for us to say, wow, Coach Dvorak is kind of always had to inherit guys so far. He's never been able to go recruit his own. And we look at it as a positive.
Did you not recruit Vincent Shavers? Did you not recruit Wilson McGahee?
Listen to what I'm telling you in the context of the question. Okay. So we had some converted guys like Reimer and Bullock and Bullock. I like both guys a ton. I thought Bullock was exceptional.
Yeah.
Now, and we thought he was doing the most with not as much.
Sure.
Why don't we look at Coach White's performance in its totality like that?
Yeah, I don't have a good reason. Lack of objectivity, probably. Like I don't have a good reason.
It's part of the. It's just a spin-off of what I was talking about this morning about wanting it both ways.
Yeah. I understand if I want a more aggressive defense, there may be some other things I'm giving up, right? If I say, hey, I want to affect the quarterback a little bit more, I want to take the ball away a little bit more, I understand as a result, there are things I am likely giving up. Now, I'll take my chances to come out ahead in the wash, right? But I'm not going to sit here and then be mad that they're affecting the quarterback more.
You mad? You mad?
You mad, aren't you? Or like that they're
You mad?
Go Jace. That they're affecting the quarterback more, but maybe they're a little bit more vulnerable on the back end as a result of it. Like, I understand there is a give and take there. I would prefer the pressure on the quarterback versus waiting for them to find a spot to pick you apart and hoping that they can't, right? Like, that's just my personal preference. But I can't sit here and be mad if they affect the quarterback and then occasionally there's something that's given up on the back end. Like, you can't have it both ways.
And affecting the quarterback also mean it doesn't have to necessarily be with pressure. It may be pre-snap movement, and so you kind of, I mean, sometimes it's high risk, high reward.
Can look a lot of different ways, right? But it doesn't come without giving up something else, right? That's how all defense works.
Would you be upset if we stopped the show early and I just watched First Take because Denzel's on?
I would be a little upset, yes.
Oh. Do you know my affinity for Denzel?
I'm familiar, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
You like all the Denzel movies that like I am not as big of a fan of though?
I don't know if
not
that's
all of them.
true.
But like you're a big like Equalizer guy, right?
Yeah.
Equalizer's good. I like Equalizer. It's not my favorite.
Much killing?
I'm a big like Remember the Titans guy.
I don't know if I'd put Remember the Titans in Denzel's top 5.
And that's fine, but that's what I mean.
Is Remember the Titans in Denzel's top 5?
For me it is. Yes, I love that movie. It also came out when I was like 12, so it's like a very, kind of a more influential movie for me when it came out, right? So
ODB, gun to head. Remember the Titans top 5? Yes. I probably put it in the top 5. Did you like that reenactment? That was real.
That was good.
Do you know who asked me the question?
You? Kenny?
Kenny.
Yeah, I knew it was Kenny. I could tell because it was snarky.
Kenny asked the question. Yeah, I think it's top 5.
I love Remember Titans. One of my favorite movies in general.
I
not just one
don't
of my
think
favorite Denzel
it's
movies.
top 3.
So top 3 is Equalizer. Is Equalizer Inside Man?
No.
I'm trying to think of those ones where he's all going.
So you have Training Day. You've got Man on Fire.
Man on Fire was the one I was thinking.
You've got Flight. You've got John Q. John Q.
I like John Q.
John Q is in my top 5.
Great performance.
He was sensational. Malcolm X is in there. Glory.
Flight's a good one. You said you don't even like Glory.
I don't. Manchurian Candidate blew chunks.
Okay. You big Malcolm X guy though?
Yep. It's a little long.
Yeah.
Malcolm X may have been 3 hours. When's the next or the last time you think you'll see a movie that is 3 hours, Shane?
Probably next Avatar.
I feel like they put out 3-hour movies all the time now.
More, but not drama ones.
Not really. I mean,
like
even
just
the
talk.
Avengers was 2 hours, and it was like you thought it was long.
Well, it's like 2:36.
Endgame was almost a full 3.
Yeah, those are a little longer. Those two.
I'll go 2:30. But again,
3:01.
It was 3 hours.
Yeah, that's a long movie.
God, I stand corrected.
Yeah, but to your point,
there aren't
Malcolm
a ton.
X is a very different type of movie than the Avengers Endgame. Like in terms of,
I know QB Ace is going to kick me out of the club. I am not a huge fan of Training Day.
I think it's a little overrated.
And I think a movie like, let's say, the Book of Eli,
good movie, really good movie,
is underrated.
Really good movie, very quality movie.
Although I'm a big Oldham guy too.
Yeah, Gary Oldham's good.
Plays a good bad guy.
Yeah, he plays good everything. Like he's just good. Gary Oldham's good in everything he's in.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen a Gary Oldham movie and been like, oh, he sucks.
I don't.
He's good in everything he does.
Hot take. Don't kick me out. I don't think I'd put Training Day in my top 5.
I like some of the lines from Training Day more
Me
than
too.
I like the actual movie.
Me too. And you know what? I don't like Ethan Hawke.
He's hard to watch sometimes.
Not a fan.
It's hard to root for him. Feels very like sniveling.
Yeah.
Not a big Ethan Hawke guy.
And the Black Phone, like still gives me the willies.
Yeah.
Go watch that.
I'm probably not going to do that. We're going to talk to Ryan Abraham coming up next to preview USC here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
Man, that guy's special. I mean, he truly is. I mean, 18 years old, leaves home for the first time, goes to a different country, leaves his family, which he's unbelievably close to. And what Coach said about him is everything is accurate. I mean, that guy knows every one of his teammates, and his teammates love him because the energy he brings in the building, not just because he's able to do what he can do with the football, but the guy's special. And I said it the last place I was at, and I'll say it about Arch. The guy's gonna be a damn weapon. And you got to understand this: in punting, special teams in general, every punt he hits isn't going to be a 55, 60 yarder. He'll miss hit one. That's going to happen. And when it does, I'll take it. All right, but I'm telling you, when you look up at the end of the year with his body of work, you're going to go, holy cow, this guy is the real deal.
You're listening to Hurrdat Sports Live.
So much excitement within the walls right now of USC football. I give a lot of credit to our administration, to Jen Cohen, our athletic director, and all of the support around our football program, because it's very apparent that USC is extremely serious about making this football program and returning it back to being one of the greats in college football. And you can see that investment level really all the way across our program. And it's the excitement that comes with that, the anticipation, the opportunity is real. And I think we all feel it.
Welcome back, Hurrdat Sports Live, presented by Centris Federal Credit Union. That's TBM Ravi, Lulla. We are joined now by Ryan Abraham, owner of USCFootball.com, to preview the Trojans as we work our way through Nebraska's schedule. Ryan, how are you this morning?
Doing all right. Yeah, just hearing Lincoln Riley talk about it. It's kind of one of those things where it's put up or shut up time. You've done a lot of things to fix the program, and now you got to win games on Saturday.
God, that is so interesting. And listen, bless your heart for setting the tone early. My first question right out of the gates was, do you get the feel that Lincoln, for a guy that's won that much, has wore out his welcome? Your early delivery intimates it's closer to yes than no. How did it happen so fast?
Yeah, well, I mean, winning 11 games in the first year and a Heisman Trophy, and USC loves their Heisman trophies. They got Reggie Bush's back. They now have 8 more than any other school. That's something that they really, when you talk to fans, they love that they have the most Heisman trophies. So that meant something. And then, the way they ended the season wasn't great, losing to Tulane and all that. But, going 13-11 in the regular season in your next 2 seasons, that's not something I think USC fans expected. Probably overachieving in year 1 and then underachieving in year 2. And it was a program that was a mess. It's just one of those things. It was a mess when he took over. And I think he set the bar pretty high to start, and now you've had to do a lot of work behind the scenes. But he mentioned Jen Cohen, the athletic director. I think she's done an amazing job. I think they've fixed a lot of problems in the athletic department and around the football program. Everything around Lincoln Riley is much better than it was when he got there. So The roster's still good. You got it. Now it's time to win games. So there's fans that just aren't happy, and I don't know what the number is going to be, but they want him to be able to win this season. No more losing to Maryland on the road, things like that. That just did not go over well with the fan base.
Ryan, we asked a question yesterday about benefit of the doubt, and coincidentally, we used USC. There were 3 teams. We talked Michigan, Illinois, and USC. And I surmised it like this. For a guy that wins as much as Lincoln Riley, the polls did not give him the benefit of the doubt. For a team that's been decimated as much as Michigan has, with a 1.5-year head coach and a new quarterback potentially, for whatever the reason, they got the benefit of the doubt. Illinois, a team, 18 starters back, a lot of productivity. We know exactly what they are. They did not get the benefit of the doubt. For a guy that's had as much success with Lincoln Riley, the recruiting class you've got coming in 26, so clearly the message is good. Why can't he get the benefit of the doubt?
I mean, it's a great question. I think USC as a program has been one of the more, if you're going to get the benefit of the doubt to start a season or an AP poll, that's been historically something that USC's got that. I think in this situation, it's more of a, we think you can do it, but you have to see it. 6-6 last year, 7-5 the year before. Like, that's not going to be good enough. But if USC goes out and goes 4-0 against a pretty easy schedule, they'll probably jump up. And then you have that Illinois game. If you beat a ranked team on the road, they'll instantly, where like maybe Indiana would inch up, USC would vault up. So I think they would get the benefit of the doubt if they show they can win. But at this point, for 2 seasons that have been really mediocre, I think it's okay for them to not be ranked in the top 25. I was getting texts from people like, what's going on? I think it's like, USC will be fine. It's not going to be like they're going to be left out if they have a great run, but they're going to get the benefit of the doubt after they show they can win some games versus before they've even played a snap.
Ryan, I'm incredibly curious your thoughts on Jaden Maeva, because we saw him at times last year not look the best, struggle a little bit. I mean, I'm thinking of the Nebraska game specifically, where he got off to a pretty rough start, got away with some things that could have gone worse for USC, and they obviously ended up winning that game. But as you go into a full year of him as the starter, having the offseason, knowing he's the guy, what's your confidence level in Maeva now that he has been the guy for the whole offseason now?
Yeah, he goes 3-1, but there were some really sketchy parts. Even the Texas A&M win in the bowl game, where 3 picks, and Nebraska could have, if they hung on to a few more balls, like they could have intercepted a couple more passes from him for sure. But I think the one thing that I don't question, Lincoln Riley knows quarterbacks, and I think he had the whole offseason to figure out, okay, do we want to get someone in the portal in January? They didn't. Do we want to get in the spring? They didn't. And I think he feels like Jaden Maeva can be the guy. And I think you might not trust a lot of stuff that Lincoln Riley does, but when it comes to quarterbacks, I'm like, all right, I mean, he must know what he's talking about here. And I think the main thing is raising that floor, because the ceiling's high, and we've seen him make some spectacular plays and, great drives, especially at the end of games, but it's up, raising that floor so you're not having the catastrophic turnovers and more turnover-worthy plays than you would like from your quarterback. So I think he's pretty confident. What we've heard from him in the spring and even when he spoke after fall camp practices, it just seems like Maeva's made a lot of progress. He's become a better leader in the locker room, better chemistry with the wide receivers. So I think inside the building, they seem to have a lot of confidence that he can get it done. But if you talk to fans and in people in the media, it's like that's the big question. I mean, the offensive line can be a question, but will you have 2 field long pick sixes at the end of the game against Notre Dame when you were right there and you could beat the team that almost won the national championship? You can't have plays like that. So I think it's more about eliminating those like devastating turnovers versus trying to get better. I think his ceiling is fine. It's just raising that floor a little bit, and we'll see what Riley was able to do in the offseason to try to do that.
All right, coaching or working closely with as a guy on the broadcast and covering this team in Nebraska, we pay a lot of attention to titles. There's a couple at SC that always interest me, and it's the assistant head coach for a specific side of the ball. It garnered a lot more attention this offseason because you bring in a guy like Rob Ryan to coach linebackers. Lynn had him trending in the right direction physically, defensively. Do you like that combination of personality types and Ryan's pedigree as an NFL guy? How do you see that working? Are you interested in all? Is it just what they needed? Is it wait and see? How do you like the assistant head coach for defense in Rob Ryan?
Yeah, he's been great, and I think USC prior to last year when Denzel Washington came in, they really underperformed at the linebacker spot. They just weren't getting production, and they bring in Matt Entz last year, who was a head coach that won national championships at the FCS level.
Yeah.
I think he changed that linebacker room, and it wasn't the deepest, and there's some good talent there, but he got them to be productive again. And I think he goes on and becomes the head coach of Fresno State. That shows you probably made a good hire when you brought your linebacker coach in. And Denzel has a history with Rob Ryan. They go back years. And the fact that they were able to get him in there, he's actually on the road recruiting and stuff sometimes, which is funny. And the best quote as far as coaches go, he's just so funny to talk to. And every player, the offensive players talk about how entertaining he's been and just seems like he's someone that, knows football. You've been an NFL defensive coordinator. For him to come in and coach the linebackers, I think everyone in the building feels he's been a great addition, and they needed somebody because Entz was really good at coaching the linebackers last year. So it's a talented room. I mean, we'll see how the depth is, but there's not a lot of experience outside of Eric Gentry, who's kind of an alpha in that room, and he's really confident that he can get these guys to play hard. So I think he's a big addition. It's not something that you bring this NFL guy forever and it's not working out well. He seemed to fit the college mold pretty well. The fact that he's going out recruiting and talking about trips to Hawaii and stuff has been pretty funny, but it's been great for us, at least talking to someone that's entertaining, but I think it's going to be good for the team too.
I'm just trying to figure out how the media guys got him to put on a tie for his picture, which is incredible in its own right.
Might have been photoshopped. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't doubt it. Let me ask you about the depth in the trenches, because obviously that's where the skepticism comes in this conference and physicality at the point of attack. We saw it kind of rear its ugly head down the stretch, in particular, second halves against Penn State, whatever, right? You know that deal. Do you like the direction that surrounds the skill to complement the way that SC wants to play versus the way you feel SC may need to play in the conference?
Yeah, I think they're building it pretty well. The offensive line was maybe the biggest mess when Lincoln Riley took over, and I think they tried to do a couple years of portal additions, and I think the last two cycles they've really recruited the offensive line much better. They have a good class coming in for 2026. Obviously, that's not going to help this year, but I think they're going in the right direction. It's still, it's a question mark this year. They brought in DJ Wingfield from Purdue, and he's still not cleared. They'll find out, I think, in 5 days. There's another court hearing to see if he can get his eligibility for the season. But and Zach Hansen took over as the offensive line coach. He was coaching tight ends, and I think he's been a really good recruiter. And the players that we talked to and the prospects seem to really like him. So I think it's going in the right direction. This year, it could be. It's one of those things that could go either way. I think they've really done a nice job on the defensive line side with Eric Henderson, who coached Aaron Donald with Rams. He's really popular. They like Sean Newell a lot, coaching the defensive end. He came over from Michigan a couple of years ago. But if you watched spring ball or fall camp, looking at the defensive line, it looks like it's a different group than what we saw last year. We had guys like Nate Clifton, who came in from Vanderbilt, was 275 pounds, and they tried to add weight to him and put him inside. They were just kind of relying a lot on Dare Alexander, and it just didn't work out, and he ends up redshirting and transferring out. They just didn't have the kind of bodies there that now you bring in like a Keyshawn Silver from Kentucky, looks like a dude, Jamal Jarrett, 360 pounds. There's some big guys in the middle of that defensive line that you just didn't have last year. So I think they've built up pretty good depth, and they like a lot of the young players. So I think it's going in the right direction. I think the defensive line is probably ahead of the offensive line as far as trying to look like a Big Ten football team. But I think they're going to get there.
Ryan, when you look at this schedule, you mentioned that the game at Illinois kind of being the first big test for USC. That starts a 4-game stretch over the course of actually 6 weeks, though, where you go at Illinois, bye week, Michigan at Notre Dame, bye week at Nebraska. Is that really the make or break section of the season for USC in your eyes?
Yeah, I think it is. And I circled the Nebraska game, which is funny, doing the Nebraska show, but I told people like that to me is the game that could, go make this season go either way. And people are saying like, hey, it's Illinois. I'm like, well, they play Illinois, Oregon, and Notre Dame on the road, all ranked teams. Like if you're going to say 9-3 would be a good season, those are the three you're going to ink in as potential losses. I mean, you got Michigan at home, you got Iowa at home. To me, Nebraska is in a similar situation to USC. Like, do you think like they're outside, like other teams receiving votes, a lot of talk about, this team could make a break and try to, make a run at the college football playoff this year and all that. And USC sort of in the same kind of boat, but it's going to be hard for both of them to be able to do that. So I think, it was a really close game in the Coliseum. And, I think, Nebraska lost to both LA teams last year. I think there's going to be revenge on, the Cornhuskers' mind, right? So you want to come in and I think for USC, they haven't been good on the road in the Big Ten. So I circled that Nebraska game as a really important one. I think that stretch is tough, but there's some games that you sort of would be, I don't want to say acceptable losses, but you understand if you lose to Notre Dame on the road. I think the Nebraska one, depending on how those teams do, that could be a really big one where the winner of that game is, hey, could be a really good season, and the loser one, it might be tougher to do. So that was sort of
and it might discern between like that 4, 5, 6 spot too, if the seasons are going the way that those two teams want it to.
Yeah, I think so. And I think the way it's set up, it looks like it's hard for both of those teams to be able to say, hey, this was a success. So that's the game I've circled as the most important. And by that time, Nebraska could be ranked, USC could be ranked. It's hard to say. But, yeah, that stretch in particular. And if you can get a win against an Oregon or a Notre Dame on the road, really, playoff teams, or even in Illinois, I think that would get you some momentum. But the games that you got to beat some of these teams like a Michigan and Iowa at home too. But I think the road issues are where USC needs to really address this season because they were just so bad on the road in the Big Ten last year.
All right, last one for me, and I appreciate your time. I'll get you out of here. At SC, with the last couple of years' struggles and, what's momentum that's trying to build at Westwood, is that a program that can cause any sort of pressure on what they're doing down the street? Or is there still that complex where SC is going to do SC things? We don't worry about what's going down there, down the road at the Rose Bowl.
It's so weird. You would think that's like they can feed off each other. The game is important for sure. And I think UCLA probably gets a lot more juice out of beating USC than USC does out of beating UCLA. But it's just one of those things that they almost act like they're in separate conferences sometimes. I mean, over the years, you thought like when they hire like Rick Neuheisel, like, oh, they're going to go out and recruit and go against USC. They don't even recruit head to head against each other all that much. It's almost like they're trying to, it's like they're trying to be in like, they're staying in the same, house, but they're separate bedrooms. And they just don't want to like acknowledge the other person's there. It's very strange, same newspapers, or not that they're that important, but, cover both teams. I think the game is important, but it's not, I don't think anything that USC is doing is impacting UCLA that much and vice versa. It's really weird. And you think that with the recruiting grounds in Southern California, but it's almost like UCLA was like, we're not going to get these local 5-stars. We're going to go a different path, and it's just had, Oregon's been the team that USC's gone against the most for like the best talent in Southern California. We'll see if that changes with Deshaun Foster, but it's kind of weird. It's almost like you're in the same city, but it's like pretty separated, except the week of the game.
Mm-hmm. Interesting stuff there from
Appreciate
Ryan
you getting up
Abraham,
early with us.
Owner of USCFootball.com. Appreciate the time as always, Ryan, and hopefully we'll chat again soon.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
That's Ryan Abraham from USCFootball.com. It is interesting.
I thought there'd be a little subliminal pressure.
I would think there'd be pressure, but I can kind of see what he's talking about them sort of just like living in totally separate
I can't
worlds.
imagine UCLA conceding, though.
No, but maybe they're like, hey, we have to take a different path. Yeah. Maybe it's a Michigan State thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think Michigan State goes after a lot of the same guys Michigan does. Yeah. I don't know. Interesting take there. That's DB. I'm Ravi Lulla. We will be back
Michigan State starts winning more and UCLA starts winning more, then it's a problem.
You say, hey, we're stealing some of your lunches. We'll be back tomorrow here on Hurrdat Sports Live.
See you. Have a good day. Love you.